Yeah.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell, Duncan. That was stressful. You're right.
Hmm.
Um, Fans of technical things, OBS just crashed when I was doing the behind the scenes, and I just sat there going like, "Oh shit!" Whilst I sorted that out. But we're here now. Hurrah!
Hey.
Hurrah! Everybody's here.
Huzzah.
I'll let you just.
Huzzah.
I'm gonna just check the other streams and see that they're all right. YouTube's where most people watch anyway, but I'll check.
Oh, I had a
Restream.
technical question for you on that actually that you might be able to help me with for someone else that I'm doing a bit of work for. In that apparently you're not allowed to stream to Facebook groups anymore from Zoom.
Uh,
Don't know if you could think of a workaround for that.
you're not allowed you're not allowed to stream to Facebook groups from Zoom.
No, because Facebook want you to use their they've created a thing for that, and that means they want you to use their thing, but it means creating a whole new, essentially like a YouTube channel on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
Which means obviously you lose anyone who's in your group already. So,
Yeah. Okay. I would probably. Okay, we can talk about this off air. I'd probably do some kind of fancy desktop capture thing and do it by proxy, like a monster. Ian, I'm really sorry. I got your overlay quite late in the day, and the boxes are the wrong aspect ratio for our feeds, so I had to make this crap one really quickly. Ian normally does our overlays. I'm so sorry. I should have looked at it earlier, so I could have asked for a fix, but I didn't have time because everything went to shit today. So I'm really sorry, Ian.
Ian is the king of overlays, but
Ian's the
this
king
one's
of
good,
overlays.
man.
Yeah,
You do yourself a disservice, sir.
yeah. It's no Ian Valet, but I'm happy with it. So I'm
No.
very sorry, Ian. I didn't get in touch in time because today things went wrong, and then fucking OBS bloody crashed just as we were about to go on air, which was really fun, as you can imagine. That's a fun thing to be involved in, a fun project to be involved in. Things crashing. So there you go. There you go. There we go. We're here for Shaun of the Dead, which is why I've dressed as John Hotfuzz. Which is not. I tell you what I've done. Red background. I've got red on me, but there's more. I have the appropriate cornetto as well.
In a freezer bag, I'm guessing, from the sounds of that. Is it?
Yeah, it's with my beer. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I would have brought up, but because I have another beer here, but it's currently getting nice and quickly up to room temperature because we use a freezer bag at night for the night feeds for baby. We did NCT classes, which is what you do when you're expecting a baby, and normally those are held in person. Where that's the kind of thing where you see typically in films where everyone sits around and men pretend to push babies out of their vaginas that they don't have. Then they're like, and they breathe, all that shit. But obviously we couldn't do. I don't think they do that here, but anyway, obviously we couldn't do that. So we had to do it all via Zoom, and it was ridiculous. But I've never understood this. I don't know why people refer to. I guess it's because in place of a name, they refer to your baby as baby. So but they don't say the baby. So they go like, and we had the lady who was leading our class and stuff would be like, so what do we do with baby? That was my impression of her. She would go, baby. And that's, so now I was like, that's not your baby or the baby. It's a baby. It's not called baby.
That I even
Never understood that.
As someone without kids, but knowing people with kids, I've noticed that. And it's never the parents that do it. It's people in the parents' orbit go like, "Have baby," and it's like it's not like Brian Baby. Like, it's not.
Is it when baby comes along? I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I've seen Dirty Dancing. I know people can be cool.
Who puts baby in the corner?
That's what she used to do, and it was so and she obviously had a big, like a big monitor because she was always looking up and going like, baby. It's not interesting to anyone.
Well, I don't know. I like because that is halfway between sort of an NCT class and like a NASA mission controller, pensively up at the screen.
Yeah,
I've had a few people say, "Oh, I have problems with Zoom. Can you help me with Zoom and stuff?" And for the most part, it's like, well, not really, because I, of all people, ironically, have completely missed out on Zoom because I'm not part of a team and stuff. So I don't have Zoom calls. I don't have Skype call and stuff. I think when I was setting up a thing with Toby a while back, he goes like, "Should we talk on Zoom?" And I was like, "Okay." And then when it come to it, I was kind of like, so what's your Zoom name? And he's like, oh no, I thought you had one. I was like, no. So we just went to Skype because it's just like kind of thought we should be on Zoom but weren't.
That's one of those things where it's like Skype have obviously been caught napping, because I think the only real added functionality of Zoom is that you can have lots of people in the room, right? Whereas like this is the only difference. It's just all it is video chat. I've never understood this. Like, let's have a Zoom call. Let's talk. At Skype for the longest time, much like Hoover, was the kind of brand name that meant just talk on video chat. You know, and some people say, should we have a FaceTime or whatever? But it's like, that's just a brand of the same thing.
Tannoy is a brand.
Exactly. I could call you through Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, like all these things. It all does the same shit.
Well, it's interesting to me that no one. Well, I don't know, but Google Hangouts has the exact same function.
Yeah.
No one uses that. I mean, like, this is everyone's just kind of like, I'm so glad I tuned in for this one. One of my friends' business, he does I spoke with my friend Nick and his wife, and we did like a watch party, you know, like just friends watching a movie thing. We did it on Teams because he runs a business and he has a license for Microsoft Office to do everything on Teams. Mm-hmm. Whereas me, I only really have one-to-ones, really. I mean, even when we did that shambolic anniversary stream, it was all through Skype, wasn't it? Because we only had 3 at a time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's your bloody video conferencing.
World, everyone. Yeah. Video conferencing and bye. She's all right. Just I obviously briefed you just before we went on air, but baby has had her shots today, which means she's going to be an insufferable arse all night. And potentially could get very ill. I mean, it's unlikely, but they can succumb to. I don't know why they feel the need to inject them with all the vaccines in one hit, but they do. So I may have to dash, but hopefully not. I mean, I think hopefully she's just unpleasant.
It's not a horrendously long film.
No,
it's only an hour 40. You know, so hopefully all will be. We hope all will be well. All will be well with baby.
The edge is fine.
The baby is fine.
Arse. Andrew Capitz has sent us £10 as always. Thank you so
top
much.
Of the stream. God love him.
Philip Noel's, not to be confused with Philip Noel, Santa Claus's PA. He says, classic movie gentleman, great choice. Will all of October's movies be horror-ish? ? Yes. I think.
Yes. I've made a horror intro. There's horror credits. Yes, we'll be doing horror all October. And Ivan and I go do a gaming stream on Saturday. We've decided. Be Resident Evil 7 or Alien Isolation. I think I'm going to start with Alien Isolation, then we'll go into Resident Evil 7. But that's also spooky.
And I've got to come up with the films for next week, so I've got to think of my top 3 spooky films, I guess.
Spookiest films. Sorry.
In space.
In space. Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Maybe that's what the thing should be: spooky films in space. I don't know. But then
Alien.
What? Fucking
Aliens. Alien 3 done. I mean, you could do. I think Event Horizon would be good. We've already done it as a commentary, but I think it'd be a good watch party because we've already done a commentary reasonably seriously. We could just go hog wild with it and just be silly. And if people don't want to see it, don't want us to do that, they won't vote for it, I guess.
True.
As you know.
True.
Such as our flawed democracy.
Don't seem to be able to escape. There are certain films we cannot seem to escape, and ironically, one being with the name of Event Horizon is the thing you can't escape. So keeps pulling us back in for some reason.
Well, yeah.
Maybe I won't include it. Fuck y'all, man. Fuck you, Lawrence Fishburne, motherfucker.
It's a weird flex, but okay.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Lawrence Fishburne.
I doubt he cares.
Sam Neill, meanwhile, is devastated. Double devastated. You didn't mention him. It's so much worse. Well, yeah. So this week, these were my picks this week. So I had that we did 1990. For we have our Duncan and I's video essay coming up. Return of the Living Dead because I just love it and it's great. And Shaun of the Dead because I just love it and it's great. And Duncan very kindly let me could I just do zombies, please? this week. So next week is all over Duncan. It's all over Duncan.
I'll probably forget and then have to do it last minute and come up with 3 things. And I'll try not to.
Yeah, I need to think about the final. Are we going to? How many Thursdays are we getting out of Oct? I haven't actually looked for Oct.
I don't know. Hang on, I'll get my calendar.
My calendar's on Nov. It needs to be on Oct. For
We
Oct,
have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We've got 3 more. Spooky. That means I get more value out of the credit sequence I made, which is quite good.
Makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, we've just had some donation from Annalisa Moskaland, who should have had a wedding dress by now, based on last week's update. So we'd like to hear about that, please, Annalise. If it is you that's getting married, we weren't actually sure, were we? I seem to recall last week.
Oh yeah, she did. She neither confirmed nor denied it, or indeed said a damn thing.
To be fair, yeah, you have absolute. That's your prerogative. It's your legal prerogative to say nothing. You don't, unless in case you rely on it later in court or
something.
Movies on Prime, by the way, kids, or at least in the UK, it's on Prime. I've got a DVD, but I didn't want to be fucking about with DVDs. I've got like an external DVD reader for that I can use on my laptop. That I use for. I'll tell you what I use that for. That sits under my television, and I don't really do them anymore. But quite often when you do wedding videos, it wasn't really the case for you, unless you want one, because I can do it. But people want DVDs of their wedding. Send to their nana or whatever, you know what I mean?
I need to make sure I haven't lost it though. I think it's on my my G drive.
I need to make a little tweak.
And there it will stay.
I need to make a little tweak.
Until called for.
Thomas Catter is here. Just to say, I've missed these live. I've had my tea, so I'm off to watch Red Dragon for the first time. Fair teas.
Fair play to you. Fair play to you. Stan Wilkes is in the house as well.
Hey.
Hello, Stan. He says Duncan of the Dead, a tale of 2 Val Verdeans. I do feel like Duncan of the Dead. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, so I'm a bit.
News just in from Annalise. Another appointment today, actually. My fiance/husband introduced me to a channel. Nice to be responsible for, not a divorce. It's nice to be around during someone's nuptials instead of someone being left. Because I caught you watching these 2 idiots on the internet, like talking about Vera Lynn's vagina.
All we could talk about was barrel. And
yes.
Kept thinking like I didn't get the joke. He just said barrel all the time.
Going on about it. God, I've had to reduce the volume of Cashback and Barrel because they were rather loud, as someone pointed out last week. And I did actually find on the I did the music stream recently, and I put on a tune, and then halfway through it's just like Cashback Barrel in the middle of particularly when it is like nice gentle music that I'd found as well.
Nice. Yeah, Steve Allen. They kept saying Skellingtons, but he wanted me to dress up as a Skellington. I was like, what the fuck is a Skellington?
He made me wear
you wouldn't understand.
He made me dress as pop-up pirates because he wanted me in a barrel. In a barrel.
He wants to have sex in a barrel.
A barrel. Baby. How's baby? Baby and barrel.
That'll all change when baby comes along.
They do.
Fuck
that
off.
is the most hackneyed phrase. That'll all change when baby comes along.
There are certain just sort of phrases that only seem to apply in certain situations, and that's one of us. Like we just drop the subjective. It's like we apply a subjective. It's like it's not a name. I mean, not really.
When the fetus is expelled from your vagina, becoming a baby, your circumstances will differ.
Expel. That's right. Expel. What's that Rowan Atkinson sketch with Angus Deaton that he did years ago? The fatal beating thing, where he's beating the guy's son to death, and he's so blasé about it. He goes, quite frankly, if it wasn't for the fact that your son is dead, I'd have him expelled. He's like,
oh yes,
you what? That's right. Expelled. It's like, I love that. I love that so much. It's brilliant. I think Brad and I sat around just doing those sketches to each other, like to anyone. Like I think God, mercifully we were on our own, because if you had been there, if a third party had been there, it would have been the most boring thing. Like 2 blokes sat there saying lines from a sketch show to each other and laughing their heads off.
You just described our stream, though, Duncan.
Yeah.
That's our bread and butter, mate. Don't knock
That's
it.
True.
It's absolutely.
Fair play.
Repetitive shite on the internet.
Yeah, but it's on the internet.
Online.
In the world.
In the world. I kind of, if I do try and do Jeremy Clarkson, I sort of feel like your throat has to melt at the end of the sentence. It's like just
Well, he's sort of adopted that now. It's just I think it kind of went back. It's the snake that ate its own tail. Like he does it ironically now.
yeah,
So
he kind of
like,
knows, right?
World, and it's like, oh, okay, you're right. He does it knowingly. Don't know what's going on with them. I mean, I know the Grand Tour kind of came to an abrupt end, and now I'm not sure what they're doing. They did a special.
Or did they cancel it or something?
Yeah, I don't really. Again, that wasn't really clear whether or not Amazon cancelled it or if they were just like, we're done. Because he did this really like it literally got to the last episode of the last season, and he came on and just started, but he literally burst into tears and said it's over. And then,
what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. And then they did a special, just like a feature length special, and then that was it. So I don't know what's going on with him really. But it's weird because that is weird because that was like the golden cow for Prime for a long time.
They euthanized Richard Hammond live on Amazon Prime. Clarkson put a pillow over his face. I didn't realise that's because that definitely. I don't think that's a ratings failure. I think that gets loads of numbers. It's one of the things they sold the service on, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was a flagship show for them for a long time. So I don't know why. But there we are. Excuse me. You can always tell. You always know.
Was that a fart or a burp?
I don't know. I often ask that of my wife and my daughter.
Or the dog. Or the cat.
Yeah, when it's pretty obvious when it's the dog. My goodness. Clear that room out. But yeah.
My goodness.
I can't say. Oh yeah, you can always tell when it's like a flagship program or something because they eke them out, don't they? They don't just series dump. They
well, that's what happened to the season 2 of The Boys, isn't it? They put the first three episodes on, and last time it was always dumped on there. You could watch the lot, but then it was suddenly kind of like, oh no, we're wise to the fact you wants it, so we're gonna eke them out. Though that does finish on Friday, which this season finishes on Friday.
Oh, does it? Okay, I need to catch up because I'm a few weeks behind, so I think I've got 2 or 3 episodes to watch. So
it's been good. It's been really good.
So far, I think it's been amazing. And like you say, like what's his name as Homelander is shit scary.
God, he's frightening, isn't he? Bicolor Prawn, £5. There's a girl in the there's a girl in the garden. Just wants to do another line from the film, but the super chat won't let me swear. Fair enough. Mark Flanagan, $5 from those United States. Duncan, what is the theatre scene in Cambridge? Small companies, children's theatre. Have you done theatre locally?
Small boys, jumpers for goalposts.
Jumpers for goalposts.
That's a fast show joke, Mark, which you probably wouldn't get. Presumably because of the American dollars that you sent. The theatre scene in Cambridge, it's very sadly. Have I done theatre in Cambridge? Not really.
It's kind of sort of annexed by the university.
Well, that is, but then in terms of the sort of commercial theatres, they tend to just bring in touring shows, so it's not. There isn't really anything homegrown, particularly around Cambridge. I mean, I've not experienced that. I don't live in Cambridge, but certainly when I did and stuff, there wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, it just never really occurred to me to even look because, anything. I mean, I think the in a sort of it's a microcosm of Hollywood in a way. It's like in order to sort of make it big in Cambridge, you'd have to go to London to get cast in a show that was then going to go to Cambridge. That's usually the way it is.
Yeah.
So,
or you're a part of Footlights or the ADC or whatever.
Or that,
and
but then you
piss off and go to Edinburgh anyway.
Yeah, again, they don't. Yeah, exactly. Anything that's sort of, it's weird. Anything that's kind of homegrown in Cambridge tends to go elsewhere, and then the theatres bring in productions from elsewhere. So it's not. Shite is what I'm saying.
Shite. I don't even know if there's much Amdram that goes on. Not that I would know where to look. If there were, but
not to my knowledge. I don't do Amdram. I know.
I'm a professional, a thespian.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what my wife's grandmother says. She goes, "Yast." It goes out for her 50th fag of the morning.
Oh, bless her. She sounds old school as fuck.
Oh, she is. She's right. She swears like a trooper as well. It's quite funny. Tell him to fuck off.
Steve Allen says, would you really want to go to London? You'd either be stabbed or not appreciated.
S-H-I-T-E. Shit.
Have you seen that? You can buy the poster of Alan Partridge's tube map with Shattered Dreams Parkway and stuff on it.
Oh no, really?
Oh, it's great. It's a tube map line with all his stops on it. It's one of those things that I definitely want to buy, but I've never got around to.
That's one of those things you put in your house, and like 90% of people just would not understand.
Shattered Dreams Parkway in particular.
I like London. I've never found it to be that. I've actually found it to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. This it's got its aspects of that, but it's. I always enjoy.
I get on with London, man. Same. I always have fun. I've got lots of fun memories down there. I've got lots of friends there and stuff as well. And it's kind of easy for us, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, it's always like going in for a casting, and just it's a nice sort of, you know, it's a day out, but it's also a kind of like, I like the kind of, I'm going for a casting, go grab some lunch somewhere, jump back on the train. I don't know, I just enjoy it. It's just sort of, it's fun. Basically, go to
the cut and thrust.
Do a little performance and then come back.
I used to do lots of that. Is quite I used to do lots of shows down there, so it was just take on my camera, go on the train, pop in wherever, get it all done, have a bit of lunch, meet someone for a beer if they're about, and then back on the train and fuck off home. Which I kind of missed this year. I did a job in London I did 2 days of the same job in London in September on a commercial job. But you know, couldn't do all the fun London things. It was just go to my friend's flat and sleep, and then go to work, and then walk around in a mask all day, and then come home.
Yeah.
No bloody good, mate.
Yeah, well, no pub. Well, very few pubs open. Stan Wilkes says, "Do you guys think the future for filmmaking is looking a bit daunting? I had to quit university due to the way the events have transpired. That's a shame." Yeah, man. I mean, look, obviously the news of the week. What with No Time to Die being pushed back again 6 months, is that the upshot seems to be that Cineworld's having to close a bunch of.
Yes, I think all of their sites actually.
Was it all?
All of them
closed permanently or closed?
No, I think this is the thing. It's being reported as like because I do feel like they're not going to go like no more Cineworld, everyone. Like they're closing for the foreseeable, which is not good.
No,
but they haven't just like gone like, well, you know, there's no monorail here. Like they're not doing that, but it's certainly not looking good. So Josh has asked a number of times. Hasn't been paying attention, been following. How long have you been a father?
8 weeks today.
8 weeks today, is it?
Today, yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Also, Nathan Adler Inc. from the Host House. Listen to it all. One of the best Partridge things ever. I have. You haven't yet, have you?
Well, I've listened to one episode.
There's one episode.
Dude, honestly, having a spare anything
man,
now is just impossible.
You're looking down the barrel of like 4, 5, 6 hours of stuff. I think because it's a lot, but it's so good. Any time you should be back driving around in a normal world, that'll be your chance. Listen to a bit of Ice House driving.
I am. Yeah, well, I'm gearing up. I've got to buy a family car. And I am adamant that it's going to be one with like a DAB radio and proper like music streaming in it, so I can just stream things from my phone. And that's prime fodder for that. So when I'm back to sort of doing longer journeys and stuff, boom. Because it's ridiculous. Like we cram into I sold my car a while ago because I just don't need it. But we cram into my wife's car now, and it's like when we have baby and the dog, it's like the idea that we could go anywhere with luggage is just ludicrous. So she has a small hatchback, but it is a 5-door. So there's a level of practicality with a 40-60 split folding rear seat for added cargo capacity. The world of car. I mean, again, that's so perfect.
It lends itself to so well,
doesn't it? Because I've done in the past. I've done so much copywriting for car manufacturers, and it is just so fucking partridge. The exquisite detailing of the LED daytime running lights blends harmoniously with the sharp crease of the shoulder. Fuck's sake.
The sharp crease. Oh god, that
sharp angles and defined creases denote the fucking Skoda Octavia's purpose and roadside appeal. Curbside appeal.
We're one film away from probably the first ever Steve Coogan watch party. In that, barely, but in that he is in Hot Fuzz
right
at the start, you know.
Yeah.
And we're so close, but no, not tonight. We've got Sarah Fenowich though. That's a winner.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's been a little while. We'll be kicking off soon because it's 2 minutes away. It's been a little while since I watched this. It's one of these ones that I've watched so many times. Kind of don't have to. I wish I'd done a bit more reading today, but today tended to a bit of a pig for me. I got quite a stressful run up to the stream actually. But you know, I've had this on a fucking hanger for a week. I watched it special because it's been hung up on a pet. This has moved house like at least twice since I made it, I think. But $5 to Mike Flanagan. Richard, would you have stuck to hotel work if Ollie and YouTube hadn't come along? No, absolutely not. No. YouTube, no. YouTube in no way moved my career on. I moved into an admin career in like 2010 or something, so I was long out of hotels before I did anything like this. So no, is the answer.
Annalise sent us $5 dues on PayPal. And said, "Hi guys, I'm from America." As someone with borderline healthy obsession with a borderline healthy obsession, how's it borderline healthy obsession with Halloween? Loving the intro and theme. Best of luck with baby.
Thank you, Annalise. I was very happy with my Halloween intro and credits. I don't know if you squeaked into the credits because you signed up quite recently and you might have not made it into this credit run. You might be in there. I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure if you came on board after I did the new credits, which was last week. But enjoy the spooky credits anyway. It's a Friday the 13th font, and it changes all of all the numbers, no matter how you type them into Roman numerals. Just made for some quite confusing.
Yeah, that's good though. That's really cool. No, it's an
neat
awesome
touch.
intro.
Neat touch.
Well,
Stan Works just gave 20 quid. Stan, don't do that, man. You just have to leave uni. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah. Unless you've got any student loan left over.
No,
I'm joking.
If you don't intend to repay that to the government, you might as well give it to us. No. Thank you what we mean to say, Stan, is thank you very, very much. And
yes.
I think that's worth at least another appearance on your channel.
Oh god, yeah. No, anytime. And Stan very kindly did a really nice review of Kenneth, which I watched it. Unexpected and really appreciated. So yeah,
Stan's got an amazing voice. I told him he just needs to like eat some cigars and drink some boiled whiskey just to sort of like really bed it in a bit.
Yeah.
You know,
he'll get there. But no, he's thank you, mate. And he's a very, very switched on chap. So chap.
He's just one of those people that comes straight out the box with an amazing voice. Some people earn their voice. Stan, I feel like, came out as a baby, just kind of like, "Hi, I'm Stan." That's like not how Stan sounds, by the way.
Like not exactly, but like that hobo guy in the States who would. You remember the guy who stand by the roadside with a sign that said, "I have the best radio voice," and people would stop and pay him money, and he'd go, "This is WKPPL," like whatever, and it was just like, whoa. And then he got a job at a radio and lived happily ever after, apparently, on bags of money, and hopefully kicked his drug habit.
I believe he didn't. I don't want to lower it. Yeah, I believe he didn't. I understand. I read somewhere that he didn't. But anyway, it's 7:30.
All's well that ends well, Stan.
But apart from that, Stan, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Stay off crack, Stan, is what we're trying to say.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Right. Okay, shall we do it?
Yeah.
Shall we do it? So I'm going to let you count it in. So
okay,
ready your copies of Shaun O.T. Dead.
I'm just getting through the fucking...
For the record, I don't have costumes for the other two films that were on. I would have worn this outfit, whatever.
I'm streaming some Prime. Oh, and look! It's another show with Joel Kinnaman pointing a fucking gun at you. Like,
what? Joel Kinnaman pointing a gun? That sounds original and interesting. What's that about?
This time he points it in the future.
He's already done that. Can he point it in the past? Let's make him a pirate.
He's pointing it in the Hannah. I'll just play the fucking... All he did was play the advert and then went back to the menu thing. Right.
Right.
My wife does that. Oh, and I get another advert now because it's right. Skip, you twat bag cocksucker. Go away. Thank you. Right, bang. Here we go. Right. I have zeroed. Are you on Prime?
I'm ready.
As well?
I'm primed. I'm zeroed.
Very good. Okay, here we go. I'm going to count down as who?
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Oh, Bill Nye. Bill Nye's in it.
Yeah, well, that's what. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. Continue. Sorry.
Okay. So, well, I'm going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play.
Just a bunch of drug addicts running wild.
Just a bunch of drug addicts.
So straight off the bat there, the sting you hear at the start is from Goblin's soundtrack to Dawn of the Dead. So they're kind of like a progressive electronic rock thing. They did the music. Well, they didn't do all the music for Dawn. Half the music for Dawn was library tracks, but that opening sting there is from the soundtrack from Dawn of the Dead. And all of the Cornetto trilogy have different music kind of cues over, pre-existing music over the Universal logo. So
zombies or whatever.
I hate this. Why am I here? I sat here in my costume like a cunt eating an on-brand ice cream, and you're just like.
Just hoping my wife doesn't murder our firstborn because it's probably tearing her hair out right now. Very quickly, just before you bore our arse off.
I mean, it's not wrong though, is it?
No, okay.
Your dad just sent a tenner.
Oh, thank you, Dad.
I got that on my watch. I feel like Dick Tracy. So fucking cool, man.
I watched the Halloween 2018.
Oh,
What do you call it?
Sequel. It's a sequel.
It's a Halloween 2, effectively, but called Halloween, which is confusing.
Yes, yes. Much like The Thing being called The Thing, because it's a prequel to The Thing.
Yeah, but the inverse, but still the same problem. I don't know what it is about how, like John Carpenter films where they're like, no, this is the real sequel, but we're calling it the same thing.
Blumhouse are doing that for The Thing now. Did you hear?
What?
Well, Blumhouse made that Halloween, and they're making The Thing sequel.
Unless I'm in sequel. That's a terrible idea.
Unless I'm in it, unless I'm somehow also making money out of it, it's a terrible idea.
Unless I'm McCready, you can fuck out.
I can't wait to be bought into a really terrible film that goes against everything I believe in, and then come on the internet and go like, yeah, I actually think it's going to be really brilliant because they're paying me. That means we've arrived.
I'm far too long in the tooth. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Like, whatever. Yeah. No. I mean, that is. I mean, so they're doing a sequel.
Yes, well, there wasn't a sequel. Yeah, they're doing a sequel. They're doing a sequel to The Thing, which presumably it involves Kurt Russell's going to be like 80. Be like, I've been frozen in the snow for 30 years. I'm a McCready. Let me do a thing.
Well, if they bring him in, yeah. But unless that's the thing, it's either a period piece at this point, with recast, or it isn't. I mean, but then it's like, do you set it in Antarctica? I mean, the problem with the thing like that is the scope is so big that it's like, well, isn't the problem then that it would take over the world? So what are you going to make? Some giant disaster flick, or which just won't feel like The Thing? Or you're just going to same thing again? Like, it's not going to work.
Being a Blumhouse thing, I think it won't be a big epic because they keep things fairly cheap,
right?
Which is good. But what I also think it means there'll be old Kurt Russell in a different Antarctic base, or do you know, or someone else in a different Antarctic base.
What's that at the door? I don't know. Bang, bang, bang. Hello. Hi, I'm a Kurt Russell. I've been wandering the Antarctic wastelands for 50 years, and I've been running from the Thing. Where's the Thing? Don't trust that dog.
I had to live in a hut made out of old dogs and dead friends in a spaceship. I'm a Kurt Russell. Where's the Thing? I'm a Thing. Look, see, there's loads of great things going on here, but I'm just ignoring them. No, but I'm just ignoring them. So, in a way, I don't want to just repeat the trivia track, but there are There are loads of this film. All of the Cornetto films have like loads of foreshadowing in. So virtually every shot we've just seen foreshadows events or characters from the movie that's coming up.
Sure.
So like there's a bit the little kid zombie who kind of stares them out in the scene at the bus stop. He's staring directly down the lens of the camera, and then the garden zombie is directly behind him. The little boy kicking the football later is kicking his football there. Like there's loads of little things buried in it because it really rewards rewatching this movie. And you know, Edgar Wright always, like everything, all these posters and stuff mean so. I've read that one of those posters has like Shaun's DJ name on it, which therefore implies that he was kind of he did music for a bit because they were really chummy with Ninja Tune and stuff, and they used to use Mr. Scruff and whatever on there, on Spaced and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, all that stuff, all these details in it. The name of the electronics company is the name of Ken Foree from Dawn of the Dead, and he was Keenan's dad in Keenan and Kel. You know, I just feel like, should I really just sit here bumming off the trivia all the time when I think everybody knows it? You know,
man. I mean, no, just do it. You do what you gotta do. You know.
Talk more, so I don't have to.
All I'll say is my capsule review of Halloween is that it just seemed to say nothing.
It has nothing to say, does it? It really has nothing to say at all.
I mean, it's again squandered opportunity with Jamie Lee, who's wonderful, but it's like
she's great. She's better than that film deserves. She's so good in that. She much like Linda Hamilton in the new Terminator.
I would say actually that pretty much the entire cast of the Halloween 2 film were great. I think everyone in it did a really great job. I just think it was not saying anything. It was full of faux portent, which I really hate because I get so fed up when it's like, you know, what's the actor's name? The guy, he was in 20. You know, the old cop, and he's I was there that night. I remember that night. And it's like, to what end? Like, it's just there's nothing like. So you bump into Jamie Lee at one point, and she's like, "Fuck, Stan, what are you doing here?" or whatever, and it's like, and that's it. There's no payoff to it.
For all the good it does them, it's just all this adds another. I mean, and I don't understand because there's already another one coming out. So we know Michael's alive, or maybe the surprise is Michael's not alive, but a dog took his mask, and the dog stood on top of a chimp, and they put the overalls on, and now nobody knows that actually it's a dog chimp chimera and not Michael, and that's the plot of the new Halloween. And if that is a plot of the new Halloween, I claim my £5.
Spoilers for the I'll try not to spoil it, but there was a moment in it where I thought they were doing something interesting, where I actually thought they had killed Michael Myers and it was going to be someone else. And if you probably know what I'm talking about, but it's like, nah, we don't do that.
No. Well, Gary because I was texting Gary when I was watching it because I know that he's kind of quite tepid on that film. At the very beginning, the two podcasters go and he takes the mask out and he holds it behind Michael. And everything goes nuts. And Gary's kind of like, because he's going, you know what this is, don't you, Michael? And Gary's like, why hasn't he just walked around the front of him? Showing it, point at his face.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, because for all we know, the podcaster guy never looks at his face. He just stands behind him and goes, you know what this is? And it's like, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's when you stoop to the levels of having to make not only your characters but everyone around them stupid momentarily, then I think it's a problem. It was a bit sort of like I was saying to my wife as we were watching it. I was like, there's an element obviously of Michael being sort of supernatural, certainly in the sequels, and it's implied a bit in the first film, and it's like in this one. We're not sure.
They seem to do it. The only bit that kind of infers that is when everyone goes nuts at the mental asylum, but after that, not so much.
Yeah, because she blows half his hand off at one point, and it's like, but then he's been decapitated and shit.
He's got his eyes still fucked from the first movie.
Yeah,
like a milky eye. But this is Crouch End in South London, by the way.
Yes.
All of this. Carl Goddard makes a point. Do you think Jessica Hines got annoyed at being kind of left behind after the success of Space, given a cameo in this, and then nothing further with Peg Frost and Wright? The guy in the background is the arm off zombie from later. Yeah, I do wonder. I think they're all still friends, but Jessica Hines has had a really great career, and she's someone that I really love in stuff. I don't know if you've ever watched 2012, the thing about the sitcom about the Olympics. You ever seen that? Bonneville? She was really, really good in that, and she does great turns and things, and I think she's had a really great career in spite of it.
I
So
can't
don't
imagine
know.
that they just didn't offer her stuff. I mean, I should think, you know,
I would hope not. That would be really
that's probably
sad, wouldn't
it.
it?
I mean, it's probably a choice she made, at some point. So not every actor wants, mega success, I guess, or not,
Well,
not every actor wants
it's
to go a
weird. They
certain
seem
way.
to be something of a team because she co-wrote Spaced and stuff, and they all seem to be something of a team, and then that sort of got left behind for whatever reason. I always thought because of
Well,
this, I was just
as we know
assumed
that happens.
it. So Simon Pegg was doing a kick. No, see, because of this film, I just thought Rafe Spall was just really fat, and then it's not that fat, but like in the second movie, I was kind of like, is that the same guy? Because he's
Yeah,
like,
it's very sport, isn't it? Fucking
yeah,
hell.
yeah, 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 yeah. And then by the second one, he's slim, like.
Is there nothing I can watch that's made in Britain that doesn't have a fucking sport in it? I mean,
It's so
give me a
true. It is
break.
so true, though. It's so
Piss
true.
off. The new cop comedy, In the Line of Duty 5, starring Rafe Spall as Detective Rafe Spall. This time, it's Rafe Spall. So fuck off. It used to be that way with what's her name? Got a funny name. Fuck. She was in everything anyway, and I had a part in a show she did. It'll come back to me later. Anyway, she was it's on the tip of my tongue. It will come back. Sheridan Smith. There we go.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Every fucking thing. Nothing against her. Like, I mean, good on her. Who wouldn't do that?
Yeah. She still does a lot of stuff. She got a load of shit from the tabloids because like her dad died and she got really ill, kind of mentally, and the tabloids went after her. It's kind of like fuck yourselves.
Yeah,
I accidentally
lovely. I mean, she was always a lovely person to work. I didn't work with her, but sorry.
I once accidentally made prolonged eye contact with her in an O'Neill's after a Ween gig in London. I was just sort of like, I fucking know who that is. I was staring at her for ages, and she looked back at me and locked eyes with me. And when you're not actually staring at someone, you're in space. I stared at her for ages, and I had like a pint. And I just kind of went, oh, and then, yeah. So bless her, because I really like her. She's great.
She
really
is. She's great. Stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It was like I would go on sets, a lot, and she was there, and I was like, okay, right. It's a show called Coupling that kind of came and went.
Oh, but I hate that show.
Yeah, I did a bit in that, and then.
Wait, you were in Coupling?
Oh, minor walk on, like not extra, basically.
Yeah.
And then what was the other? Well, she was in when I did. Not a touch of frost. Jonathan Creek. When I did that, she was in that.
Because she was the last. She was the most recent companion.
Right.
She was a Doctor Who radio companion as well.
It's
about that one.
Of course she was.
Of course she was.
Her and Rafe Spall should have a fucking baby at this rate.
So this does. Well, I tell you what, this film doesn't get the credit for. I think it's the very subtle hints at the coming disaster. Because what happens is they go and get really pissed, and then wake up and it's all gone to shit. But there's people sneezing and coughing on the bus. When he's flicking through the TV to demonstrate it, there's loads of bad news. We've got this guy kind of going for the pigeons. There's army trucks going past. There's a guy running down the street. There's loads of little.
Well, the joke is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the joke is like, if zombies started happening in our modern day society, would you even notice?
Yeah, would you even notice? Exactly. Well, because when he walks out of the next day, when he walks out of the house to go to the shop, he doesn't notice any of it, does he? He's got his head down, and even like he slips on that bit of blood and stuff, and he doesn't even notice what's going on.
Because the point is that Shaun is an oblivious dipshit, but also that because everyone's shown to be zombie-like anyway, that you probably wouldn't even notice. Yeah. Well, there she is.
Because look at that guy's head is on the thing. See, Yvonne, I really love that. What I do like about this, and the joke gets done later, but this little kind of thing. Maybe she's his ex-girlfriend. Maybe they're just mates that don't really speak so much anymore. Like, it doesn't really matter. She seems to be leading the cast of another film who are way more successful at the same thing, because she pops out at the end with the army and kind of rescues them because he says to go into the Winchester.
Right.
So she it's sort of like, I don't know if you're like in a group at work or something and you feel like you're part of the group of people that's not doing so well, and like someone else, like the other, and it's the great kind of, that's where you've got like Martin Freeman and Tamsin Gregg and Matt Lucas. in the little kind of Alterna Yvonne of the Dead film.
There's quite a few. I'm starting to realise I've been on set with quite a few people from this. Because Tamsin Gregg I met and worked with. She was really cool, and I had a proper scene with her and everything, which I was really happy about. Nick Frost, I didn't really meet, but I was on set with for Snow White and the Huntsman.
I didn't realise he was in that.
Yeah, he's one of the dwarfs. Cunty, I think.
Yeah. He's. I know that's not what you're saying, but he's supposed to be just like the soundest dude, Nick Frost.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he seemed pretty cool. Mate, they were all cool. Rafe.
I think Peg comes off as a bit of a cunt these days.
Oh, does he?
He just comes off as so pretentious in interviews, and just like he literally go bumming off about how Tom Cruise is his best mate and stuff, and it's like, oh, get your head out your ass.
He probably is, but you know.
Well, you have no doubt, yeah. But I just sort of, he comes off as a bit of a pretentious dick, and I think he's got very highfalutin ideas about himself, whereas I think Nick Frost, for example, stayed very grounded. If you hear him speak and stuff, he just seems cool. And Simon Pegg's, well, he's a very serious actor, and it's a very serious process, and there's no such thing as having fun, just being a tetchy arsehole all the time.
But he's hired to play himself a lot.
Back.
I know he's Scotty and Benji from the Mission Impossible films, and that seems to be all he does at the moment. Or the odd indie run, Fat Ass Run, or whatever.
Well, but he used to be sort of like geeky everyman, and now he's kind of like 6-pack goon with a hair transplant.
Yeah, but it's like, the roles he plays in Mission Impossible and the other stuff, it's like, but that's you are the geeky everyman in those films.
Yeah, but he's a field agent now, though, isn't he? He used to be fun IT guy, and now he's like sat around. I've seen some of.
Yeah, but the joke of that is that he's trying to be a field agent, but he's still the geeky guy from behind the desk. Like, that's the joke that they keep making, is that he's in the field but he's inept. Because he's got to be, because he's up against Ethan fucking Hunt, isn't he? So
well, yeah, the best at everything ever.
Yeah, man who punched an aeroplane in the dick for whatever, at 5,000 feet. Anyway, sorry, but
you got a super chat there. Question for you, Jay Whitford.
Joe Witherford, because of these commentaries, I can never take Duncan seriously when watching him in a role. That's a shame. Has he ever considered more comedic or absurd roles? Who are you asking? has he? Anyone? Yeah, I mean, I've done comedic roles. Sort of, I
would put you in a comedic role because I can't write anything serious. But I know what you do that's funny, so I would put you in a funny thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do more comedy. I think people look at me. I think that it's a branding issue more than anything. I think people look at me and go serious because I don't know. Like, maybe I don't present as comedic, perhaps. Because you've got to remember that like most people don't know who the fuck most actors are. So it's like casting directors are just going through headshots, and it's like if your headshot says the character to them, or at least says blank enough canvas that I could see the character in them, then they call you in. And my headshots, I mean, unless I'm there pulling like going bah, like it's not. But even then, with the best will in the world,
in a clown suit, just
yeah, I don't scream comedian, so that's just the way it is. And so it's not about what I'd consider, because obviously I would consider it all because I just like to work, but it's about what they would consider, and sadly not. But hey, yeah, I have lots of friends who make movies. So Brad, Mark, Ben, Jamie, if you're watching, make a comedy. I was very grateful. I was really grateful to Mark Price for putting me in a Western, because that's so not a thing you get to do in the UK ever.
Yeah,
so to get to play,
Fistful of Lead's a bit of a rarity, isn't it?
Big time. To get to play a sort of cowboy, and there's comedic elements in that as well, but it's like just to get to play as that is amazing. So I was really grateful for that.
I was gonna you don't really see Kate Ashfield in much of everybody in this, and because she's like this kind of, well, not quite the second lead, but the main love. You don't really see her in a lot. The Winchester's flats now, by the way, which is a real shame, because 100% would go to the Winchester for a beer.
Where is it?
Crouch End. It's all Crouch End as far as I'm aware. But yeah, you don't really see her in much. As I Am Snorlax points out, yeah, Kenneth is quite comedic, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah, very good point. Although I'm the sort of, I get comedic elements in it, but it's.
I think
I'm
the
not
comedy
the
for you
absurd
is
character.
no, but it's derived from your exasperation with
Yeah.
the situation and what's going on.
Mm.
Do you, Clyde? He does
Well,
good orangutan. He does good orangutan. Don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I do. Me and my tedious mates, we just quote this all the time. Can't even deny it. Like, and this is the bit. What is it? Is it this scene? It's after he gets dumped. He basically spells out the whole plot of the film in one little monologue. And it's
that's
like
right.
back to the Winchester for shots or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This is the kind of, the Edgar Wrightian kind of transition of time like that. Those little compact montages of crash zooms into things. And it's usually matched to sound cues and stuff. There you go, stagger back here and bang, we're back at the bar for shots. And that's how they end up behind the bar with all the bullets going off on the table and stuff with the Drambuie. It's all very clever. It's a very clever, very tightly scripted film. There's a bit where there's a deleted scene, because there's a few little bits of deleted scenes in this. And there's a bit with loads of kids eating an ice cream man. They cut out because they thought it was a bit dark, but it's a really great little gag. Like, you've got like a bunch of kids. And there's a few other kind of bits of. I love all the pub characters like Snake Hips.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Snake Hips strangled his first wife with a draft excluder, and he invented the mobile disco. It's fucking great. Look, coccicidal maniac. She's an ex-porn star. She's done it all. So when she made the world's first interracial hardcore loop, cafe ole, cafe. Again, this is me and my mate Alex still say cafe ole to each other all the time, because we went and saw this on opening night, and then I went and saw it again. Because it's around the time of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, was the same year, and I've said this before, but those two films were hugely important in reviving the zombie genre. And I think at this point now, when it was like a credit, like, oh, they've got so much we owe them so much, and now it's more like, yeah, they really have something to answer for because of the place we found ourselves in at the moment.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I've never been a zombie guy. I mean, that's never been my thing, and it always seems to be that people who are really into it are really into it. And I kind of get, that the mentality behind it is very much that kind of end of the world anarchy, not nihilistic. Well, I suppose it is nihilistic, but that kind of, the freedom it affords you when the world goes to shit, which is, I think, you know what they said recently, car sales. I'm bringing it back to the automotive world. Last month they expected, because September is obviously a big month for car sales usually, because new registration, and it's also the start of the fourth quarter financially. Fourth or third I suppose. Yes, they said actually they dropped car sales, only fell by 4%. New car sales only fell by 4% last month, which you would never expect in the current situation. And they said the reason for it was the YOLO effect, which is this kind of like, because everything's gone to shit, people are like, fuck it, and they're going out and buying brand new cars on finance deals and stuff like that they probably can't afford. But there's a sort of element of who gives a shit anymore, and that's what I think is the appeal of sort of zombie films, is that kind of, you can drop your guard, you can drop the sort of sense of worrying about the future, because all there is survival, and you don't have to worry about paying your mortgage, you don't have to worry about all the bullshit you worry about day to day. It's just fucking,
Well, I meant to do a thing with Toby, like, about, I wonder, the results of what's going on at the moment might kill the zombie thing, because I think it's just a bit too much like what's going on outside the window. It's not, I know there aren't zombies, stop typing. But yeah, it's something that perhaps we don't really see any more of, and it's had a good 15-year revival. Great Peter Serafinowicz anger here. He was the bad guy in Space, still one of the recurring sort of villain in Space, as much as you have one in a sitcom such as that. So when we did this with Toby a few months ago, or probably fucking year ago now, God knows, time doesn't matter anymore. Something I mentioned, like, at the time I watched this, not only because it's loads of little thrown away references to things that I know, so it releases dopamine in that kind of like, I know what that is way. But it wasn't just that; it was things such as it's the music as well, because like they're doing the Melly Mel rap just a minute ago, doing White Lines, and then when they come in here, it cuts to Man Parish. And then it's got like the Goblin music, and it's kind of, and I was really into sort of like proper old hip hop and electro stuff at the time. So I think it was lightning in a bottle when this happened, because like Hot Fuzz, when that was coming out, I don't really like Michael Bay films or Tony Scott films or that kind of stuff. So I was a bit like, oh, I'm not so sure about this. When I actually watched it, I think I like it more than this. Because I just find Hot Fuzz so amazingly entertaining and quotable and funny and just nicely made that I might actually like it a bit more than this. Whereas this is like, I think I said in that review, to a degree I felt like this had been taken out of like they'd scanned my brain and made my perfect film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's really funny as well, because it's like it's one guy making jokes about licking out his mate's mum over and over and over and over again with 70s hip hop and zombies, and it's like, yeah, and then fucking they play Time Splitters 2 as well, which is a game I was really into at the time, which does not say player 2 has entered the game when you join it. You can't join multiplayer like that in Time Splitters 2. But anyway, but do you know what I mean? Like, it just happens to have all the things I wanted, and weed jokes, and I was smoking weed at the time because I was a dickhead, and you know what I mean? Like, it had all this stuff that I felt like was, for me. Whereas if it came out now, I'd still really like it, but it wouldn't feel as personal.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
there's films. There's always films that do that. I mean, and I think, in the sort of, there's a Venn diagram, I think, with all films, isn't there? And there's some that overlap more than others in terms of hitting the kind of zeitgeist or whatever. But most, like, all films always have something for someone in them. I've made movies that 5 people saw, but there was always someone in there that was kind of like, this really spoke to me. And there are films out there that like I watch and I'm just like, this just keeps giving me more and more and more. It gives me more than I ever thought it was going to give me. That's true of certain actors. Well, my wife and I watched Enemy of the State again randomly, and that was a film I watched ad nauseum. I think it was one of those ones that we just had on video when we were younger and we used to put on all the time, and for some reason it just really stuck with us. And then I watched it again and I was like, this is still really good, man. It's still got that real, and I mean, I know you just said you don't like Tony Scott, but it's got.
I don't dislike Tony Scott either. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Fair enough. No, it's cool, but like, I mean, it's just for some reason that film has the kind of rhythm and the what I want out of a movie, and it's sort of not. It's quite unusual when you look at its kind of structure and its pacing and what it is, and it's like, and it's kind of outdated now because it's about surveillance, which is like, yeah. You've got Jack Black looking at satellite imagery on a CRT monitor that's like 5 dots, or you know what I mean? It's just like,
also the weird era of people not really knowing what to do with Jack Black, and he was in loads of serious thrillers and stuff. It was a strange time.
That's a weird one, yeah, because the Jackal, there was that, and then and that film Enemy of the State is full of people who went on to be much bigger than they were in. It's like Seth Green's in it, and who else? There's loads of people. There's loads of people who held like the nerds and stuff. And anyway, but the nerd,
Cashback.
But I really like it. Look, anything Gene Hackman. I love Gene Hackman, man. I could watch that guy forever. I think he's fantastic. So there you go. Anyway,
he's amazing. Like, he's incredible. Oh, we've got these are, if you're not from Britain, these are all real news people. And I was just about to say Christian Gurumurti doesn't age, more as far as I can tell. But
it's like they put Wolf Blitzer and everything now for like American stuff, don't they?
They keep cutting back to, I can't remember your man, that guy from Sky News, but there's a great running gag where they keep cutting back to him going, remove the head or destroy the brain, like over and over and over. There's a girl in a garden. So the girl in the garden, she's in the beginning of the movie in the checkout.
Right.
2000 AD did a tie-in strip to this when it came out called There's Something About Mary, because that character was Mary, and it's about how Mary ended up in their garden. which was
really?
written by it's just a one-off. So there was an adaptation comic that was done by IDW or something, but 2000 AD had a one-off written by Peg and Wright and illustrated by Jason Brashill, I think. And it's about how Mare ends up in the garden. It's a really cute little one and done kind of 5-pager.
Is it insanely convoluted? Did she meet Doomsday and then
just random stuff? Yeah, Batman, Doc Brown, Terry Wogan. Yeah, she's got the Infinity Gauntlet. She's pissed. I know what's it? They say like she's angry. Oh, she's drunk. Yeah. So I think they wanted to. The line was going to be "she's pissed," but they didn't want to confuse Americans, which is one of those annoying things where they just capitulate to Americans for no reason. But I think she likes it. See, there's what I like, because again, there's kind of, this scene has like nerdy music gags in it, right? With the LPs, you know, it's like the Batman soundtrack and all that when they're throwing the records. But there's just and if you're young and you're wondering what that is, that's a disposable camera, which you only see at middle-aged people's weddings now. I think it's just the most amazingly subtle little bit of humour that made the cinema absolutely lose it. So look, he throws her on the spike, and then is it this bit? Basically, Nick Frost is still winding the camera, and there's like a little, like, he goes to take another photo and it goes like click, click, and it's this little great sound effect, and everyone in the cinema fucking lost it, because it's just that's a great subtle little joke.
It's a bit ropey, that rotoscope, but then it, you know,
it's
when was this?
also
2004.
Yeah, it's also easy. Like see this when he winds the camera and it goes like click, click, click. Yeah, it's so easy to do now, isn't it? But back then it was that bit tougher, which I'm guessing was like you say, kind of rotoscope and green.
Tyrone, what the fuck can he get away from? He's a getaway driver. What the fuck can he get away from? Sorry, Snatch.
Just going into Snatch, yeah. Stephen Allen says, "Lynn, I've pierced my foot on a spike." Oh yeah, call a fire engine. What do you want a fire engine for? So they carry the energy, the kind of the energy and the kind of gag writing from Space is still there, and it's still, they're quite, you know, they are quite different from their characters in Space, because like Mike in Space is such a caricature, whereas like Ed is a completely different character. But they have that same energy because he's still the more kind of childlike one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that same sort of almost. What were they called? God, brain is gone today. Not Laurel and Hardy, not the two Ronnies.
Helen Pace.
No.
I just want to reference Helen Pace.
What was the duo from the like 60s or 70s?
Not the two Ronnies, did you say?
No, not the two Ronnies. What are those two guys?
Little and Large.
No.
Cannon and Ball.
No.
Morecambe and Wise.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Thank you, Morecambe and Wise. It's that sort of straight man, almost straight man. I mean, like, I know Shaun is funny himself, but it's like he's the kind of straight man to.
Yeah, sure. And it's kind of a film I've come back round to, The World's End, which we covered when we first started the channel. I quite liked that they switched those personas for the third movie. So you know, Nick Frost plays the more serious one, because it's nice to just not have the same thing again.
Yeah, but without sort of feeling subversive for the sake of it. You know, it doesn't feel.
Yeah, it feels like a natural kind of switch, because it works. You know, because you can buy him as kind of a responsible family man as well. Because Nick Frost is a really versatile kind of actor. I don't think he gets the credit.
Isn't the twist in that though that he's a reformed guy? So it's like he's seen the light and now he's like a good man.
He was never as bad as Simon Pegg. Like he used to drink. He stopped drinking as a teenager and left it all behind him, because I love this box of stuff. Is great. There's like a tree for a coffee mug, and like, I think they throw the toaster at him as well.
I'm guessing those are all things they've then turned into rubber props.
I hope so, for their sake.
Yeah, because they literally go at their head.
So the girl who plays Mary, she's one of the rehab people in World's End. So a lot of the cars come back. So the cockacidal maniac, as I call her, she runs the shop in Hot Fuzz. Get a look at his horse. That one.
Oh,
No,
right.
it's the second album I ever bought. I like how that shard goes in his eye, like.
And then that means they think that's the solution.
He does it great, and the way he goes into the shed, like he just smushes through the door.
Yeah, that's another very sort of Edgar Wright thing of like those jump cut, like bum bum bum, like procedural push push push, like done.
No, I think the discussion with him is very, because the relationship between not just film and sound, but film and music. I mean, we're looking at an extended gag where their lives are in peril, and they're basing which records they throw on the quality of the music. So it's like,
like
you can throw Sade in the Batman soundtrack, but not the Stone Roses. Because that's and obviously the fence gag comes back in all of them as well. But like, there's great kind of physical stuff. Space had good physical humor in it as well. We've inspired people saying names of duos, which I've been seeing in the corner of my eye for like 10 minutes.
Oh.
Hale and Pace, Callan and Bull, Buster Keaton, that's one person. Magnum and Steel, Corden and Horn, Holland and Barrett, Peaches and Cream, Jeeves and Worcester, Mills and Boone, Mitchell and Webb, Tom and Jerry, Turner and
Magnum and PI. And
Home and Away, Pills and Booze, Bill and Ben, Cheese and Pickles, Beer and Coke, Sausage and Onion, Pineapple and Pizza, Randall and Hopcoke, Sharky and George, Toothpaste and Orange Juice. I'm fine, like... Nobody sees Bubba tonight, so I could just like not talk about the film. Like sit here and drink and eat my cornet, and we'll just hang out and have a laugh. I don't mind. I can't remember what was the other thing we did. I remember something else got well out of hand in the chat the other day, and it was fucking hilarious. And I can't remember what it was. But I always love the chat. I love the chat getting. I love the chat getting nuts. It's good times.
Getting rowdy.
So this sneaks in a nice little Evil Dead reference. And this was the time as well, because like Spaced was quite ahead of its time with doing the kind of reference humour. And now everybody does it, so it's perhaps a bit tiresome. But it's the great. He kind of goes. When he realizes he's a zombie, he says it'd be great if you could join us, like which is it's a nice subtle little bit of kind of reused dialogue. It was Neil Breen things. I think that was when me and Ivan did one. It got well out of hand, and it was puns that weren't even puns. It was sort of amazing. It got deeply out of hand.
My dad said Mutt and Jeff.
Got mac and cheese, mum and dad. Mum and dad. Riggs and Murtaugh, PJ and Duncan, salt and vinegar, apple pie and custard, COVID and 19, current, Burton and Elfman, Biff and Lorraine, Rojors and Hammerstein, nice. Pissy and Knickers, Skellington and Barrel. Yes, Fish and Pin, Mike Pence and some cunt. Oh, Floyd wants in. Sorry, Floyd. Tell you what, mate. We're coming up on 37. If you can get yourself to 37, you've got a good 15 seconds, and you'll be in there, mate.
Really? Because I'm at 37 in 5. Fuck it! I pressed pause by accident when I said that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. 37 now. That's where I'm at. Is that
cool? That's close enough. Soda drinking corridor Janta says creased and posters. That's creased and posters. Don't know what that means. So these, I love this. So this, obviously, he does his kind of mental plan where everybody loves him, but then they have to keep revising it. So it's the same bits of footage, slightly different each time, because he doesn't want to go to Liz's house, so he wants to go to the pub. And that was a whole contentious thing in their relationship and stuff.
Been so long since I watched this. This was always the thing. I mean, I think the contrarian in me just really didn't want to like these sorts of films when they came out. I was always... you're a cunt. No. Well, whatever. I don't know. I was always kind of just a bit more like, I can't get on board with this shit. Like, I don't know. Like, it was that kind of like, British mundanity is mundane. It's like ha 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 ha, and it's just like right. But that was my attitude. But
I'm eating my cornetto.
Fair enough.
But that's what that's come round to though, because like Philip is such a great character for British mundanity because he refuses to accept it. He's been bitten by a zombie, and his reaction is just run it under a cold tap, which is the most British dad thing you could possibly say, having been attacked by an undead cannibal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it wasn't my cup of tea back in the day, but No, I mean, I think I suppose what it's not so much that it's what I rail against is the sort of bandwagon jumping, and this was very original. This had a I give props to these guys that they were doing something intelligent and smart, but it became. I think my problem is when I come to something after the fact and it's already run riot and it's everywhere. It's like Zombies and the sort of nerdy everyman in a comedy about like what if Zombies was Britain, or what if what if this in Britain but against a sort of mundane British backdrop. And it's like I came to it too late. The train had already left the station, and I was standing on the platform going, the fuck. And I was also in that phase. I think back in 2004, I was 20. So I was in a phase of fuck everything, like whatever, and I suppose that's why it maybe it was in me that it wasn't the film's fault at all. But yeah, I think I just thought I can't get on board with these things, and but it was the same thing with Alan Partridge and stuff like that, and I have since definitely come around to it, and it's the same thing with these. I think these are brilliant movies, and I think they're great, but it's just. I don't know. You're still eating your fucking ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Nearly done.
Right.
That's a perfectly timed monologue, mate. It's a perfectly timed monologue.
Do you know what I mean, though? I've had that with a bunch of films. Like, I had it with Gladiator was my big one, which was I never got that film because it was everyone was like, this is the best thing. When you watch this, you will never get cancer again or whatever. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
And then I watched it and I was bored shitless because it's just not my kind of thing. And then I've come back and watched it again recently, actually, and gone, no, I get it now. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, great movie.
I just need to talk I just hear Jess soda drinking corridor janter who's being a cheeky cunt. I'm not having an own brand cornetto. I'm having an actual fucking cornetto. And obviously I'm eating the strawberry one because it's Shaun of the Dead. If it was hot fuzz, I'd eat the vanilla one. And if it was well done, I'd eat the mint one. All right. It's all right. I kind of know him, so that's fine. All right, go on.
No, that was it. You ruined it.
I saw Gladiator in the cinema, actually, and I think I was perhaps a bit too young for it. And I don't tend to like that sort of stuff anyway, as an example. But it is one of those things where it's like, I know you have to watch this. So I get what you mean. It's like the stuff you have to watch. I'm terrible for that putting me off. But then, because this could have been a huge failure. It wasn't. I think because it carried through because it was good word of mouth and stuff. I think they were trying to get funding from Film 4 and it fell through because Film 4 collapsed and then came back. And this because they had their relationship with Channel 4, this was going to be made by Film 4, and I think it ended up being working title instead, and Universal. And I think the fact it was backed by Universal as well helped it get that kind of international push. It went down well, because they ended up, Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright ended up in the next Romero zombie movie, and this film helped that film get made.
Right.
So it had that kind of big impact globally, and they got to be massive sellouts. Good for them as well. Hey, look, I like everything Edgar Wright's done, and he's got his new film just got postponed because COVID. But he's done a film set in London that looks quite intriguing. It had Diana Rigg in it, actually, who just passed away, obviously.
Right. Oh, shit.
So, he's never let me down yet, to be honest. I resisted watching Scott Pilgrim. I was kind of like, I don't want to watch that. Don't tell me what I like. But then I watched it. I was like, yeah, actually, no, I was really good.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
My cousin Tom wants to talk about that film on our channel, which obviously will happen at some point. But no, I own it. I've got it on Blu-ray, I think. So I need to rewatch that. But no, that's a great movie. The Baby Driver, I didn't really get on with. But I know you like it.
Yeah, I really like it. But,
it wasn't that I hated it, but I was just like, this just feels like every other. It's like Drive,
people have said that. I got a bit annoyed with people going, "Oh, well, this is just a generic heist thriller," and it really isn't, because the script might be, but the filmmaking isn't. Like, there's some really exceptional filmmaking in it, and particularly sound design, because it's a film about sound and stuff.
Yeah, no, I can admire all the filmmaking on display. I just think I walk away from it going, I don't feel like anything was said that. Because I just think I don't know. I watched it and I was like, I'm a cool cat who walks around listening to his music, and I didn't feel any connection with the film, even though I could admire the filmmaking on display. I just didn't feel any connection whatsoever to what was going on, and that might be me. That might not be, it's not the film's fault necessarily, but I just thought I get more out of something like Drive than I do out of that. There you go. I'll leave that there.
Well, they're kind of I get it.
Like a dump on the carpet.
Like a dump on the carpet. I think the thing is with Baby Driver now. I remember that came out on DVD just when all the Kevin Spacey things happened, and there was loads of Kevin Spacey standees everywhere in like Sainsbury's, and it's like, those aren't going to be there very long, are
they? No. But yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. Have you seen All the Money in the World, by the way? Because I watched that. That's such a weird experience to watch, because it's done seamlessly. Like they've put Chris Plummer's obviously fantastic, but they've done it very, very well.
I suppose it's a case of it's because isn't it?
Yeah, and you sort of watch it, and you go like, this is really weird, because I know that's supposed to be Kevin Spacey, and then you go like, was it really worth doing that? Because, well, I get it. Like, obviously those accusations and stuff, I don't know if they're true or not. Nothing's been proven. Nothing's really happened. He's just gone away quietly, and then COVID happened. So I don't know.
He did release like a spooky YouTube.
Oh, some sketchy weird shit. Yeah,
weird.
He did that Frank Underwood thing where he was like, I don't give a fuck, basically. And it's like, maybe you should.
There's no proof. I would say there's no proof of anything, but it doesn't look good. He's not someone that I would. But it's the court of public opinion, isn't it?
The weird thing is, it's like you look at someone like Mel Gibson, for whom there was a great deal of proof, right? And he, I'm sure it hurt his career, and he went and did lots of mea culpa and all that interviews, and and he is who he is. But I think people have kind of accepted that. Don't get me wrong, I totally get it's very different to actually physically taking action against another human being, and I condone none of it, by the way. But I just find it odd that the reaction to something like that was different to something like with Kevin Spacey, where it was an accusation made with nothing to back it up, though I accept that a scenario like that, there wouldn't be evidence. So that's up to really you.
In Mel Gibson, it's something that was recorded that very much happened, and then it's kind of like, it'd be good if we put him in a wacky comedy. And then it's like, and then, because he did fucking that, the one where Mark Wahlberg is got more muscles than Will Ferrell, and he's fucking his wife, or I don't know. The second one of that has Mel Gibson in it.
The Daddy Day or whatever it is, Big Daddy's anti-Semitic penis.
Big Daddy's yeah, very long title, that one.
It was.
Big Daddy's anti-Semitic penis. Yes, that's right. Mel Gibson wrote and directed.
But you know what I mean, though, it is a bit weird, all that like Kevin Spacey is just. I mean, I'm not making a case for Kevin Spacey. I'm not. What can I say? I know someone. Put it this way: I know someone whose experience with Kevin Spacey would suggest that the accusations are true, but that's.
And the thing is, there's a lot of that about.
Yes,
there? There's a hell of a lot of that about.
Much like the Bryan Singer stuff. There's a lot of accounts, whether or not I can't say if they're true or not, because I don't know. These are all people I know and who I believe. I'm sure one of whom has text messages apparently from Mr. Spacey, but I don't know. Lovely. Yes, but I will leave it there. But I do just find that. Well, no, I suppose I don't know. Whatever, it is what it is. But I mean, to go to the lengths of completely recasting the main role in your film and reshooting.
And Scott didn't want him anyway, did he? He didn't want Spacey in the first place. He wanted Plummer.
No. So that's what he says.
Well, yeah.
You never know. You don't know any of it, do you? But it's just a very weird film, and it's an all right film. I don't think it's a particularly, it's not that groundbreaking. It's all right. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got talking about that. Sorry.
Anyway, well, I was. Bill Nye and Penelope Wilton are so good in this as Mum and Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And he, I see a little bit of future you in Philip, because he's got that lovely Jag, and yet again, they're all going to die, and he's like, "You're not driving that car." He doesn't want him to drive the nice car. It's great. And Ed deliberately wrecks his car in order to drive the nice Jag and stuff. And
yeah.
when they're tearing through London trying to escape, he's like, "You realise this is a 20-mile-an-hour zone?"
Why do you think I?
No, not that. No. It's the protectiveness over the car, not the.
Oh, I see.
Stuff. It's more.
Yeah,
like, don't let
I'm not really not a Jag guy, but the rest of it, I can get on board with.
It is, yeah. It's just, and maybe you will be that dad. I don't really see it. I like because that's quite nice. Also the sort of, he's his stepdad, and he's never got on with him, but they kind of reconcile in his last moments. He's like, I just wanted you to be all right, and your dad died when you were 8, and we didn't know how to deal with it and stuff. And it's actually quite sweet, like, and they both sell it really well. There's really great performances by the pair of them, actually.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, Bill Nye is someone I really respect, actually, and I think he's a very, very, very good actor. And he's someone who, I've watched a bunch of interviews and stuff with him, and he never went to drama school. He's one of these just get up and do it people, and I admire that hugely. Yeah. But he does sort of just do.
But he does it really well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that's the
when he's cast right, he is fucking amazing.
I didn't think much of the
which
movie,
is true of
but
every actor.
I liked him as Davy Jones in the Pirates films, and he did that kind of Scottish accent. I thought it was really nice.
Yeah,
not mad about those movies, but he was really good. And if you wouldn't know it was him. He wasn't just doing Bill Nye. Which I think a lot of people call him up because it's Bill Nye free because we need someone to Bill Nye the Bill Nye out of it if there's anyone to Bill Nye it for us.
Yeah, I would say he's a sort of watered down British Christopher Walken in a way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's kind of got that thing. Yeah.
There was Did you see that thing on the BBC that was filmed in Cambridge with him and Ray Fiennes a few years ago where he was like a spy? And he was like a kind of old Cambridge spy, and he went to his college dinner with this Ray Fiennes played the other spy, and it was all intrigue and stuff. They filmed it all in the Market Square and on King's Parade and stuff.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't.
It's quite good. It was on Christmas. It was long enough ago that I was living with my girlfriend, so like a long time ago.
Okay.
But yeah, a few years ago, being like at least 8. but there you go. Lucy Davis, of course. Lucy Davis is Jasper Carrot's daughter.
Oh, is she? Okay, no, I didn't know.
Yeah, she's someone I really like. And it's been really nice to see her because, quite a big part in Wonder Woman. And she was really good in it as well. And it's just nice to see her in stuff. I think being in The Office did a lot for her.
Yes.
And probably some element of nepotism as well. And just being good. This is the thing. I mean, because and Dylan Moran is Dylan Moran. Like, he's done loads of stuff. And he's like the de facto villain for this movie as well. Which he does a really, really good job as. But Black Books and stuff, and just as a stand-up and everything, he's done so much stuff. And it seems like everybody, even the smaller parts, has gone on to bigger stuff. Apart from Kate Ashfield, who, if you told me, like, I don't want to diss her, like, because she's fine and everything, but like, if you told me she was in like Doctors and the soaps and stuff, I would be like, okay, fair. But I haven't seen her in anything.
The thing is, man, I mean, you don't know what choices people make. You don't know what things have come up. Sometimes the opportunities just don't come up. I mean, I don't know. I don't in any given moment feel especially in control of my own career. Aspects of it, yes, but generally speaking, no. But that's okay. I mean, and the thing is, it's like a lot of those opportunities come about because those productions are in the UK and those people have the right representation and they're looking for that type of character, and boom, there's probably a million other actors that could have been seen for those roles, but there she is because she's in the right place at the right time with the right, stuff behind her, that she's a sort of darling of the British. But I mean, that's what Wonder Woman, from this to Wonder Woman is what?
Oh, like
13 years.
But she did quite a bit in between the television and stuff, the sitcoms, and I think she's been very visible. Not like movie star, but she's done a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of voiceover. She's someone whose voice you hear a lot. Nick Frost, Lucy Davis, Peter Serafinowicz. Now he's kind of a movie guy, less so, but you used to hear his voice all the time on ads. Nick Frost is always kind of dog food ads. You hear Nick Frost on all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, your work likes bouncing or whatever.
Yeah, Dylan. No, who's the other? Stephen Marchant as well. You hear a lot. Sam Montgomery sent us £5. Says, "Hi guys, one of my favourite films. I connect a lot with Shaun. My stepdad won't let anyone drive his Jaguar.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I like so yeah. He does the when they all pile out the car, like the joke is he kind of goes, "It's not Philip anymore," and then he reaches over and turns off the stereo. Like Philip. It's great. All those great little bits. That it's like Philip's dead, and then she's like, "No, he's not," and he's zombie Philip. And he looks great, zombie Philip as well. It just does the thing that I'm not mad about though. I don't think when you become a zombie, pow, milky eyes. It's like zombies look like that because they're corpses. It's when they say it's sort of like Ivan and I watched this film Vampires versus the Bronx last night.
Oh, yeah.
Or the night before. It's a Netflix original. It's written by someone from SNL, and it's about vampires versus the Bronx. It was fine. It had nothing to say. It was fine. But that did the thing where the vampires, when they turn to vampires, they got a big scary vampire face, and I've never really liked that either. Show just teeth. I'm not. Because what Buffy used to do was the big scary vampire face, and I've always kind of thought, it's better just to not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you can't just go to instant zombie look, because the point is that they're rotting corpses, not that they have a look that you just get when it's time.
Even Land of the Dead did that, and it really pissed me off because John Leguizamo turns up at the end and he's just like, "Nah," and it's like, oh, why does he look like that? He's fresh. He should look like John Leguizamo, but if his throat hanging out or whatever.
Fair enough. Yeah.
John Leguizamo played the American Del Boy. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, they did like a American Fools and Horses like 10 years ago with like Christopher Lloyd as granddad and like John Leguizamo as Del Boy. And it's like,
what
okay.
the fuck? Okay,
yeah, I know.
Did not know that.
So this is the. I think this is where we. So they're eating snake hips from the pub. Those kids.
Oh yeah.
There's strangled his wife with a draft excluder. The kind of thing that's going on here as well is like mum's been bit, and she doesn't. She's kind of a bit out of it from the rest of the film because she doesn't want to tell him. Because she doesn't want him to have to deal with losing her, which is really sad. And like the bit where you have to shoot her and stuff, it's like, what is it? He says to Dylan Moran, he goes like, you never liked me, and now you want to shoot my mum. It's great.
That's a trope that's used a lot, actually. The sort of thing of motherhood and the having to conceal things. Like Love Actually has a really powerful bit in it with what the fuck's sake.
We've got the Alterna films on screen at the moment. We've got Reece Shearsmith.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway. Yeah. I've never seen Love Actually.
It's actually really good.
I bet it isn't.
Anyway.
Laugh at my joke. Sorry.
Yeah, even like M in Skyfall, there's that bit where because she gets shot and she doesn't. He's like, "Are you okay? And are you hurt?" And she goes, "Only my pride," or whatever. And she's trying to hide it from him the whole time. And that's about showing that M is a mother figure to James Bond. And
I really liked all that stuff in Skyfall. It's really good. I really fucked this up, didn't I? I'm really hung up on her saying "fuck" like in that movie, but
it was just shit. Quantum of Solace and fucking Skyfall. There you go.
Here's the. Never taken a shortcut before. He sells that so well when he gets up again. And they do their little. They do the little drama school bit because Diane's an actor, so they use the swing. She gives him the swing wheel set, and he swings it around. And he goes like, "No, that's rubbish," and then they stab him through the thing. And oh yeah, I'm sorry. This is now when she gets bit and she becomes a bit kind of catatonic because poor mum's been left in the garden.
Right.
The pub is a shit plan.
Is it?
I think so. Huge fucking glass windows that are open. At least go upstairs is my view. It is a shit plan. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a great plan because it's a pub. But in a zombie apocalypse, it's a less good plan. I just don't think. I think if you're in central London, you're fucked anyway. Like, good luck. Fucking get out of central London, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, what, you're going to run until Surrey? Like, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 28 days later, isn't it? You need to get out of a highly populated area.
Where we are, you'd be fine. Where you live, you'd be all right. Where I live, I'll be all right. Without doxing ourselves. In terms of leaving, not staying.
Yeah, true.
You got to go north. There's less population. When it gets cold, the zombies will freeze in the winter. Of course,
Like
I thought.
Antarctica.
Antarctica and meet 8-year-old Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Mark
All
Flanagan.
ties together.
Mark Flanagan. Do you think Wright would benefit by coming back to Britain and making stylish comedies? His American films haven't really connected as well. I don't know. I like all his American films, though. He, like we were saying earlier, Mark, he has done a film set in London.
Cashback.
That's been delayed because of COVID. I don't think it's a comedy that I know about. I mean, basically everything he's done has had comedic elements. Because Baby Driver I wouldn't call a comedy, but it is funny.
I mean, what was it? Wasn't it Ant-Man he was supposed to do?
Yes,
years and years
yes, he was. And him and Joe Cornish of Adam and Joe wrote the script. And that's what some guy that directed it adapted. So there's kind of Wrightian elements in Ant-Man, which I really like. I really like Ant-Man, actually. But there's... That's great. He climbs this. Is it clear? No. How many? Lots. And then it cranes up. And there's like fucking loads of them. Sorry, what was the question? Was there a question?
No, there wasn't. I really need to go for a wee, though. So I'm going to go and do that. If that's all right. And you can be Mr. Wikipedia till I get back.
Wikipedia. Okay, go expel some urine. I'll still be here,
Thank you.
probably.
I'll
probably still be here. So I've avoided just going into endless trivia because I could do that, but I think this is one of those films where it's just all out there, isn't it? Really. So what more is there to say? And I'm sorry, said, have you seen Pontypool? I have not seen Pontypool. So no, I'm sorry, I can't help you there. Dunks off for a slash. Paul Rudd is a national treasure. His first one was even a Halloween film, Halloween 6. Yes, it was. Yes, Paul Rudd is a national treasure. He's fucking great. I heard that Paul Rudd is older, is the same age now that Wilfred Brimley was in Cocoon, which is absolutely astonishing. But there you go. Also, we're building up to the pretending to be zombies scene that they do, and I'm convinced that like Shaun is doing Bub, right? And if you watched Day of the Dead with us a few weeks ago, or if you've just seen it, you know what I mean. Ed's like, I'll do it on the night. Fucking great. He's doing Bub. When he does his little performance, he does Bub. I'm certain of it. And then when they make him up... there you go. Look at that. And then when they make him up later, he looks like Bub. And when they make him up in Land of the Dead. Pontypool is a great different take on zombies. It takes place in a single location. It's on Prime. Okay, good to know. I'll have that. Hey, Richard, do you like the Peter Serafinowicz show? I fucking love the Peter Serafinowicz show. I've got it on DVD. I'm a big fan of Brian Butterfield. I once was at a DJ Yoda gig and he started sampling and cutting up Brian Butterfield, and it was just amazing and lovely. See, Ed's still doing this rubbish zombie, which is fucking great. So yeah, this pub is now flats, like all pubs, which really sucks. Richard, either you die a hero or live long enough to become a living and breathing IMDb trivia machine. It's true. Thoughts on Paul? I think it's alright, but it lacks like a right style. Thought it was a bit bland. Yeah, Paul is fine. Paul is absolutely fine. You'll see Tyres from Space. Michael, is it Michael Smiley? Is a zombie. There you go. He's a zombie in his Tyres get up, which is quite a neat little thing. He's on the artwork as well. I'm pretty sure he's on the posters and stuff. I love you, Toilet Gun. Yeah, Peter Serafinowicz show, man. Like the guide to getting married and stuff like that. It's so, again stuff I quote. If you've never seen Peter Serafinowicz, two things to look at. Peter Serafinowicz's YouTube channel, which has loads of great weird world building fake docs on it, and B, the Brian Butterfield website. The Brian Butterfield website is amazing.
Cashback.
It's so good. It's like a 90s style website. Yeah, so here we go. Ebel says you're holding. Getting on the phone to sort out some weed. Yeah, so I actually quite liked Paul. I didn't mind it. I wouldn't watch it again. It does one of my screenwriting sins, is which when someone says, I can't believe that X, I fucking hate that. And I think the film opens with him going, I can't believe we're going to Comic-Con. And it's like, well, I can, because you're walking through San Diego next to loads of people in cosplay, so I can believe we're going to Comic-Con. Considering that they are people whose writing I generally really rate. All right, Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, all right. Sorry, I had to just go and check on my wife as well, because that's not fun. That's not pretty.
Your baby's been stabbed by a doctor today.
Yeah, she's just literally howling and howling and howling and howling, and it's really not fun. Sorry. It's weird because I mean, it's like if any that doesn't sound too bad, you'd be like, but actually, it's really hard work.
It's literally designed to drill into your brain because that's the evolutionary thing to make you fucking,
And physiologically as well, like my eardrums will rattle, like it's I can feel my ears going like, even like from across the house. Whereas if I hear someone else's baby crying, it doesn't do that. So it is weird, but my God. Bless her, she's looking absolutely knackered.
So you'll be able to go back in an hour or so or less.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Anyway, sorry about that, everyone. Anyway, sorry.
Sean's mum is called Barbara after Barbara from Night of the Living Dead,
right.
And then Ed, of course, gets to say, "We're coming to get you, Barbara," down the line, which is probably the most famous Romero's on the line. Just a few things I was going to go through on the chat. Ken King has suggested Demon Knight or From Dusk Till Dawn for a watch party. You could put Dusk Till Dawn in his vampire pile for next week if you fancy vampires.
I might.
Peter Danielson says the sound effect from the coin game machine is reused in Hot Fuzz. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they use the same fruit machine noise.
Okay, yeah.
Eric Grandin, what's your favourite in the Cornetto trilogy? Richard, Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz for me. What about you? You got a favourite?
Yeah, I'd probably say Hot Fuzz. Yeah.
Yeah. I can watch Hot Fuzz again and again and again and again. Have you got any noise cancelling headphones?
But yeah, I just read that. Have you got any noise cancelling? Kind of defeats the purpose.
Yes. The baby will then starve to death.
Yeah, exactly. We might forget we have one.
Wait a minute, we've got a baby.
You didn't do anything.
You got any opinion about? We know. So like the joke that they've had for ages is they would do another one called From Dusk Till Shaun. Which is just a joke I think they had. But in Into the Spider-Verse, there's a scene in Times Square and there's a poster for From Dusk Till Shaun, which is kind of cute. That's a nice. Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Nice little thrown away wee bit there, which I kind of dig. People talk about. Yeah, so go on.
The Batman versus Superman poster in I Am Legend. It's like
yes, yeah,
and then I almost feel like that's what made them do it. Ultimately, it's just like. A little trivia, you didn't know. If you look closely, you'll. It's like, no, not even closely.
No, it's sort of like the size of a postage stamp in the background, isn't it? Like,
oh, it's massive. There's a massive like close-up.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I thought it was just like over his shoulder. Oh, okay. Well,
no, you can see it like broad.
I saw that in the fucking cinema as well.
Yeah.
You could do a watch party. I mean, we wouldn't, or I know you wouldn't, but there are 3 versions of I Am Legend you could do. There's the Vincent Price one, the Charlton Heston one, and the Will Smith one.
There's the Omega Man.
The Omega Man. That's what The Simpsons does in its Neutron Bomb episode, isn't it? It's exactly the Omega Man.
Yes.
Which I really, really like, is because that has so little to do with the book, the Omega Man. It's just like, okay, and I Am Legend comes off more like a remake of the Omega Man than it does an adaptation of the book. Whereas the Vincent Price ones are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, because I gather the book is more about everyone else is the sort of vampires.
He's to use the Simpsons thing. You know, he's not exactly a reverse vampire, but yeah, it's an inverted Dracula legend. But that's kind of the punchline of the book. Like you find out in the last chapters, because he's the last human. Everyone's a vampire, and he goes out in the day and hunts the vampires whilst they sleep, and then they're besieging his house every night. And then you realise at the end, oh shit, hold on, I'm Dracula. What have I done?
Right,
because he's going out and killing them in the day, and whereas in the film, kind of goes, the Will Smith one goes like, he found the cure. That's his legend, and it's like, okay. I mean, no. But okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those sort of the setup is the best part. You know, it's the first 2 acts. Because it's the thing of like, what if everyone in the world disappeared and it was just you? And, you know, and that stuff's fine. But then it's like, and Will Smith's great in it. But then it's like, how do you pay all that off?
You know what? It's replacing, and they're not vampires. They're called like day stalkers or something. But replacing them all with CGI was such a bad idea. Because I think if they'd kept with made up actors, it would have felt a bit more like something like 28 Days Later, and it would have been so much more frightening. Because when he goes in a room and there's loads of these rubbery fucking Stretch Armstrongs, it's like, well,
yeah, it was. It still wasn't in the era of like really great CG, and also, I agree with that. But I think as well, the changes they make basically make it a zombie film.
Yeah.
Rather than
Well, I Am Legend was very, very influential on Night of the Living Dead, and the Last One on Earth, the Vincent Price film, is very influential. But yeah, they are sentient. They're people. Well, they're not, but they are. You know, I mean, they speak, because that's the other thing. Like, because those ones in the Will Smith one, they don't speak. It's kind of like, but this one's that one's in love. This is his legend. Bye. Like, so you don't really sit, because arguably they go like in that Omega Man. It's they're an organized kind of, they're a group. There's like an organization. Whereas in I Am Legend, they're not as savage, but they're kind of,
they're zombies. I mean, they're just zombies, but they can't go in the sunlight or whatever. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
And the dog's called Sam until you find out it really means Samantha, and it's a female because that's important for some reason.
Would you like Legend?
Female dogs are more than males or something. I don't know. Bye now. Bye.
Oh no! Like, he calls it Sam, but her name was Samantha.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, all right.
Can we have some money now?
If it turned out it was like a hollowed out dog being operated by loads of hamsters, that would be a twist. The gender of the dog is not something that in any way altered the plot. Or
I'm not sure it would be a twist because, like, it wasn't implied that was the case all along. You know what I mean? There's no hamster conspiracy.
I sure love how you're not a hollowed out dog full of hamsters.
Yeah, as Alanis Morissette's "Ironic" plays in the background. People who don't understand words make a film.
Oh, that to me more or less does sum up that film.
Although, I mean, in fairness to maybe Alanis Morissette was just that smart that she made a film like called Ironic, full of stuff that wasn't ironic, because it was that's the point. Is the whole thing is ironically not ironic.
Yeah. It's a long game. And also, she played us all.
So on her deathbed, she could point at the whole world and go.
She's going to do it like Talia al Ghul in Dark Knight Rises. Actually, that was the.
My father's work is done. And it's like. Your father, Jeff Morissette.
Jeff Morissette.
of the Morissettes.
Then she shits her pants, obviously.
It's like South Park. What's the? Yeah, no, but yeah, I think that's true, but also because Inconvenient wasn't a very good title for a song, so.
Yes, irritating. Sort of implausible but annoying when it happens. Not a great name for a song. Isn't it implausible but kind of annoying when it happens?
Don't you think?
Don't you think?
A little too implausible when it happens.
Number one album, that was. The Sound of the Summer, that was.
It was like, what was it? Chris Evans, as in our Chris
Chris Evans
one.
Yes,
not the American Adonis Chris Evans. Katie Melua had that really fatuous song about how many bicycles in Beijing there are.
Bicycle Beijing, yeah,
and he made her sing because it goes, there's 9 million bicycles in Beijing. That's a fact, and he made her re-sing it with "That's not a fact, it's conjecture" or whatever, like, and putting this crazy like.
Yes, did someone also do a version where there was a correct numbers for the things in that song that she then sung? Fair play, she was very game about the whole thing.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. She had a great sense of humor about it, which I thought was brilliant. But yeah, it was like because it was like, that's not the point of the song. It's not about being accurate about how many bicycles in Beijing there are. And no, obviously, it wouldn't be a nice round 9 million.
Yeah, it's not very lyric friendly, being the point,
Yeah.
So here we go, the third act. So this is it follows the classic Romero film structure, in that the group tears itself apart. They go to a refuge. It doesn't get false pieces, blah blah blah. But it does it in its own way. So I love the great bit of sound design. The dart goes in his head. He sells that so well. But when he pulls it out, he goes like, okay, but dogs can look up. and it's this little squeak as it comes out of his skull. And obviously they, another again, it's kind of choreographed to the Queen song. Don't Stop Me Now's played on the jukebox, and he goes, "Kill the Queen." What? The jukebox. Great little gag.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, and the stuff about the gun not being real and whatever, and blah blah blah. It's all because everything was teed up more or less in the first act. So it tees up this whole third act in the first act, and then the second act does what it does, and then it all comes full circle. It's just very tightly written. It's got loads of great comedy, but it's a very tightly written thing.
I mean, no, it's brilliant. I mean, like I said, all that stuff about me not getting it. I mean, like I say, I was 20 years old.
Yeah, sure,
I didn't get a lot of stuff. I think now I do, and it's like, and I say when I come, there's certain things as well when you're that age and you go, I don't get it, so fuck the world. It's like, well, actually, it's fine for you not to get it. It's just not for you right now.
Yeah,
it's like, and all these things have these lives that go on long after. And this is one of the things I love about film and love about making films is they have lives that go on long after they're made. And that's why I sort of rail against the opening weekend mentality, though I do understand it. Films can find you whenever, and that's the beauty of them. So anyway, sorry.
But you come back round on yourself and stuff like that's it's
absolutely.
Nice. There's a bunch of stuff that I've come back round on it and just kind of going, oh, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, on Her Majesty's Secret Service was a recent thing I saw. I was like, actually, it's a really good film.
You know what? This is the best Bond film. This is the
no, I'm not going that
Casey far. This is what Duncan Casey thinks.
George Lazenby is not my favourite Bond, but it's still a good movie.
They also have a situation here where, being British, they have to operate the gun as a team because they don't know how to do it. And they've all got like a job, and they bring back they do the stuff from the beginning of the movie. It's the video game thing where it's like top left, top right, and they do that kind of thing.
Right. I just don't think that's valid anymore to say that you don't, because like anyone who's watched any films ever from America knows how to operate a gun. I mean, like, I don't know, like,
man. I don't know about that.
You don't think?
I don't think so. I think because a lot of what's portrayed in movies is false anyway. We talked about it last week. It's like putting the hammer back for dramatic effect and stuff like that. People just think...
True, but that would still, you would still be able to fire the gun thereafter. It's just not necessary.
It depends on the gun. I mean, yeah, the thing is with guns is that you have to be so fucking careful, don't you?
Oh god, yeah. I mean, it's things that even American film and TV doesn't get right. It's like people running around with their fingers on the trigger. It's like you would never do that. If you've ever held, like, the best thing I think for people is give them a loaded BB gun and let them do that. Walk around with your finger on the trigger and see how long it takes you to shoot yourself, because it won't take very long at all. Because it's like you just don't. As soon as you have a lapse in concentration, you'll pull the trigger.
Well, that's the thing. Like say I was in a zombie situation with a bunch of people and we found a pile of guns, there would have to be like, okay, look, we don't just all take a gun. This is really serious. You don't all get a gun or we're all going to die sooner than later. So I'm not going to be shot in the pancreas in a zombie apocalypse because Keith couldn't keep his dick in his pants. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've done cadet training when I was younger, and then I've also done like SWAT training for film, though, not for like reels. But I've done weapons training. I've done a fair bit of over the years, and so I know how to kind of I'm not an expert in weapons. I'm not saying that at all, but I've handled guns and stuff and blanks and all that kind of thing, and I know what it's like to fire. It's again, this is the beauty of doing film stuff. It's just like I fired modern weapons. I fired a Garand. That's weird, and it does feel so safe.
Did it go clang at the end?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, because
awesome.
the magazines jump out the top, and all they are is sheet metal, so they just go clang which is so like just telling the enemy that you've run out of bullets.
See, nowadays you'd have an app on your phone that made false clangs to make them run.
Like, I think he is out of bullets. Wait! Did you hear the clang? Nein, I did not hear the clang.
Yeah, we should definitely have Daniel Bruhl in more roles like that. Yeah. Did you hear the clang?
In Nation's Pride, what was it? Is it Nation's Pride? What's the?
Where he plays the sniper in.
Yeah.
See, there's a great line in this coming up, where he goes, because they keep not knowing what that David's job is, and he goes, "You're the one who went from being a chartered accountant to Charlton Heston." So they keep. I can't remember. They say all kind of wrong jobs for him, which is kind of great.
That's true. I mean, and he's a great character for that, because it's like, there's the man who who has sort of such middle of the road success, You know, in his own world, he can claim success because he's got a slightly above average wage or whatever. But that doesn't mean you know how to handle a gun or a zombie apocalypse.
And he's just been a prick the whole time. I love this standoff because he very politely gives Diane the bottle, and she goes like, "Thank you," and then points at his neck. It's really great. And again, just the kind of map of relationships, because like he's always been in love with Liz. She never loved him back. She met Shaun at a rave. He's always felt that Shaun wasn't good enough for her. Diane came on the scene because he had to go out with someone because he couldn't have Liz. Liz knows that he's always loved. She's always loved. He's always loved. Diane knows he's always loved Liz. Like, it's a really complicated little kind of web of the relationships, and it all kind of comes together here. It's sort of a living diagram because they're all pointing, you know, at different places and stuff, which is very clever.
Yeah. And it's one of those things as well where it's like a chips are down situation. It's like, actually, in a scenario like this, do we actually wish we could live like this all the time? Because it would mean we wouldn't, you know, we're uninhibited by worries about repercussions and the future and all that kind of stuff. It's like we're just laid bare, like we can be literally open and honest and fuck the consequences. Yeah, again, the sort of YOLO thing. We can put our name down for a brand new Audi A6 Avant S-Line with the tech pack.
Leatherette panelling on the interior flank of the driver door.
Alcantara headlining.
I'm so out of my depth.
That's the thing.
I'm
literally saying things that are just what are said.
We're just listing things.
Yeah, I am just in a Partridge voice.
Oh man, we've had 5 dislikes already.
Oh,
some kind of record. That's Floyd Dillon just put that. Cheers, Floyd. What we did have, I think, inspired by your dad, and people have to tell me, because I remember your dad said last week, Philip, I should say, because he's perhaps in the room. He said like, oh well, you know, more people should do likes if you like the video when you're in. And people, I saw a little chat earlier, people going, go and do your thumbs up. And people doing a thumbs up. So we got like 54 likes on this already.
Bless you.
Really
Thanks,
sweet.
Dad. And thanks everyone who liked. And you know what? That's something we just aren't. You and I, the sort of vernacular of YouTube, I think we're aware of, but we really don't like doing, which is the whole like, smash that like button.
We really
subscribe.
Don't know ourselves, do we?
The bell next to our bell icon.
I kind of
like
like
sure you
that.
never miss an episode, and it's like because you know it. I think the thing for me is like I'm fairly well steeped in like SEO and all that kind of stuff, and I do know how it works because I do it a lot for other people at the moment. But it feels so false when people do that, but we have to do it because, you know, you guys are really our core, like the 119 people that are in the room currently, and God bless you, thank you so much for coming along, and everyone on Patreon as well. You know, it's amazing that you guys turn up and listen to us talk shit for how long, but you know, and we don't ever want to lose that. Like, you guys are who we're really all about, but we also want to grow the channel, and so it's a case of you know, we have to play that. We just have to get better at that. Like, we need Instagram. Like, we've just put out the trailer for Nights of the Living Dead mini doc on our respective Instagrams, and I think they've done fairly well. Like, they've had decent response and stuff, but it's like we need a Val Verde one, and the trouble is you sort of put it off, but you're like, well, I have to. It's like getting on the property ladder or whatever. You have to start it at some point. You can't, you know, because you need to grow it. But it's like
it's endless deferment, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. So I just don't want to do it because it's like I do it anyway a lot for other people, and to then have to do it. Firstly, there's the busman's holiday aspect, but then it's also like it's boring. I don't like doing it. This is where he gets his guts ripped out.
So this is, as having watched Day of the Dead recently, they're doing Captain Rhodes. It's pretty much the same thing, but except they run off. They take his legs. So look, it's pretty much the same gag with the guts coming out, and then obviously for comedy purposes, they have to be left holding his legs when he's come out the other side.
I love the way humans become so mushy all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's sort of it's similar. Most gore movies, right? People are just huge bags of blood that just kind of come to pieces. Which isn't really the case. So, according to the DVD, you'll be glad to know that Diane does survive this. She escapes with the leg, and I believe the DVD says she's still in Christmas card contact with Shaun and Liz. It's quite funny. They did these little animatic plot hole things in the DVD. I swear that Whitehead zombie is fucking Jessica Stevenson, not that one. She's on the poster as well. Perhaps that one. There's one with like real Jessica Stevenson Hines cheekbones. Obviously, she's not as her other character. Her other character comes back. Yvonne. Sorry, pardon me.
No, nothing. Yeah. What was it? It was. I think it was Halloween. Yeah, it was Halloween. We were watching. Where there's a bit where Michael Myers stomps on a guy's head. And
yes.
That turns into mush, and it's like,
bang. Movies love that. Have you seen Brawl in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn?
Yes. Yeah.
That has
exactly
mushy heads.
But an oddly bloodless one. Like not much blood came
It kind of looks like it's porcelain.
But porcelain. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird that. I mean, that's one of those weird. I like that film, and Dragged Across Concrete was similarly brutal, but
I've
different.
Not watched that yet. I've not watched that.
It's good, but it's one of those films where it's kind of like, I think it's too much setup and not enough payoff. I would say that about it.
I felt a little bit like Cell Block 99 compared to what's the Western one called again?
Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk. I felt Bone Tomahawk's setup was so full of portent and the ending was worth it, whereas Cell Block 99 was fine and cool, but like it was by the end it was like, was that really worth all that?
I think Bone Tomahawk is probably the most complete of those three. But I think the other two. I just think Dragged Across Concrete has too much in common with Brawl in Cell Block 99 in terms of its sort of tone and everything, and then its pacing is a bit weird. It a bit like Tarantino spends ages on certain scenes for no apparent reason, really. Although the payoff of them is, I guess the point is that the character moment that pays them off is good, but it's all a bit for naught. I suppose that film feels like it all just feels a bit. Oh, well, the fuck was the point in that?
Why did we do this?
Yeah, the investment isn't really paid off in the way you'd like. But I do think it's worth watching if you've got the time and you're so inclined.
Yeah, well, we should talk about that at some point. I have thoughts. I think it's a small number of really good short films pointlessly strung together for no good reason. Because it's like
which one?
Once per time.
Cell Block.
Oh, Cell Block.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about.
Oh God, that applies
to both. It
applies to both of them. Yeah. Okay. Fine. There are whole sections of it because you talked about Tarantino and that sent me off in that direction.
Oh, okay. I never once said Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No. It's because you said Tarantino and you described something that shares the exact same problems.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. There are whole sections of it. It's kind of like, why was that there? I don't know.
I didn't have that problem with. Honestly, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood ended before I thought it was going to. Which is probably one of the first times that's actually happened to me with a Tarantino film. I was like, oh, and I didn't. I was all right with it. I actually quite enjoyed it. I had no problem, but it's very much in my wheelhouse, that like movie making and of like the golden Hollywood stuff, and there's bits that drag on, but then you expect that from a Tarantino film. I quite enjoyed it. It didn't do what I thought it was going to do though. Which was all that Sharon Tate stuff.
Dude, I don't think it did anything of meaning, really, particularly that.
No, I mean, no, and that's fair. I mean, I would say the same thing is probably true of stuff like The Big Lebowski. It doesn't necessarily do anything of meaning unless you want to read that into it. But I don't know. I guess it was just a world I quite enjoyed being in for a bit.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's whole section of it I really, really liked. The Nicholas Hammond, Leonardo DiCaprio stuff was really, really good. But then other bits, it's kind of like, why are we here? I don't know why we're here. Like, what does this mean? And it just in my view, races to a conclusion without really saying anything of note. I get like his thing of punishing, because in Glorious Bastards it's the Nazis, and in this it's the Manson family. So it's like punishing historical figures through kind of fantasy versions of history. I get that. But I'm also like, why?
It just seemed a bit glommed on, and a sort of odd place to put that. But I mean, I think with the best parts of it for me were the kind of Hollywood procedural stuff, and the fact that and just sort of Leonardo DiCaprio's dysfunctional.
He was great.
Hollywood side. Yeah, him and Brad Pitt are fantastic in it, I think, and I liked it. Like I said, I was not mad about it. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I enjoyed it. I had fun, and it didn't feel. It felt long, but it didn't feel like, for me, it particularly outstayed its welcome, which I can't say the same. Like Django and stuff like that, I think just obnoxiously won't shut up.
I think we should talk about that at length. I think we should do more things where we don't agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do more things where we don't agree. Yes, Doug. Nicholas Hammond, who played Spider-Man, he plays Thingy Wanamaker, so Wanamaker's dad, doesn't he? He plays Sam Wanamaker in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's the director of the Western TV show that Leonardo DiCaprio's on. So that was Nicholas. That's Nicholas Hammond from the '70s Spider-Man show.
I thought it was Bryan Cranston.
What? No.
What?
What? In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
No, it's Nicholas Hammond. I don't think Cranston's not even in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'm pretty sure he is. Hang on. I'm looking this up.
The chat will know.
Yeah.
But, there you go. Yeah. See, this is great because he puts the fart in with his death. I'm sorry, Shaun. I'm not really sure how I feel about keeping my zombie friend in the shed, though. You sort of think you'd want to put them out of their misery rather than kind of keep them in a horrible afterlife in the shed playing PlayStation with you.
Oh, right, you are. No, you're absolutely right. But why did I think it was fucking? Because I'm sure I saw it. This is what babies do to you. So I have that. That's my pleading the fifth. But the
I haven't slept in 8 weeks. I don't know what's going on.
No, it's true. But I'm sure I saw Bryan Cranston's name at the start of the film.
Well, as people who established their somewhat non-existent internet fame, talking about the '70s Spider-Man show. '70s Spider-Man was in that big movie, which is kind of neat.
Fair enough. Well, I'm quite happy.
Doing a great role as well as Sam Wanamaker.
He was fantastic in that, and to the point where I thought he was Bryan Cranston. So I can't say.
You were so good. I thought you were Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, you can't say any fairer than that.
Joe Cornish is one of the zombies that gets gunned down by the army here.
Oh, okay.
He was on set, so you don't see his face. I don't think it'd be him. Or perhaps run over by the army. And Yvonne comes to rescue. But yeah, no, there you go. Nicholas Hammond.
What was the budget for this film?
£10. No, I don't know. It's going to be one of those, British movie. I'll look it up because I don't actually know.
Okay.
I'm going to guess probably less than 10 million. 6 million US, so that's
Oh, wow. Okay, that's not much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in this country, I suppose, because, and I know they got...
Goes a long way.
There's a website called... what's the website called? Spacedout.net. I suppose it was Spaced Fan Site, and they put the casting call out for zombies on the Spaced Fan Site, so most of these zombies come along and did it either for free or for £1. Because Romero used to pay $1 to the zombies, because I think you have to pay something as a union thing or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. So he used to give a signed $1 to zombie extras, and I don't know if they did a signed pound coin. Tiny
with a crochet needle.
With a crochet needle. Yeah, signed pound
dipped
coin.
in wax. Yeah, I don't know, but that's, do you know what as well? Because the funny thing is, you sort of look at it in terms of but films cost 50, 12 million, 80 billion pounds, and it's like, yeah, they don't have to. And if someone gave me, I guess, $6 million is about £4.5 million. I could make me some fucking movies, especially 2004 money as well. That's probably more 10 million now.
Something like that. Yeah. See that they remove the head or destroy the brain. Fucking Vernon K on E4 as well.
God.
Yeah, fucking Coldplay. That taints this film slightly for me.
Fair enough.
Here goes Rafe Spall as Zombie Trolley Boy. Because all of this stuff's quite grim, actually. The post-zombie Shaun world's really horrible. They're putting them in game shows. That's Keith Chegwin's voiceover, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. And you've got Trisha as well. I really like all the British TV personalities in this. Really sell the world because they're real. They're just randoms. They're real people.
Yeah.
Trisha's mostly forgotten now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, known to be Bo Selector took the piss, didn't they? Trisha back at the.
Oh fucking hell, yeah, rice and peas.
Kiss my teeth. Yeah. Which is so weird to think. I mean, it's funny now because we watching. What was it? Oh, Homes Under the Hammock, because obviously, bless her, my wife has nothing but daytime television. to keep her from going insane, which is not it doesn't
Not what
say
you'd
much.
expect from daytime television.
No, exactly. And who's the guy who does someone did that supercut of, because he always goes, so why did you buy the property? Why did you buy the property?
Is this with the piano?
And they put the piano sounds in because always do that.
Homes Under the Hammer.
Homes Under the Hammer. What did I say?
I think that's what you said. Was it?
Those was it? Yeah.
That's what you said. Yeah. I think what you said. Yeah.
So we were watching that earlier, and it's like there was an auction house, and they were like for £3 or whatever, and buying a house, and I was just like, that looks so fucking old. Like what people are wearing, the carpet,
it's weird,
and it was like 2013, and I was like, oh my god,
time marches on, my man.
Certainly does.
Actually, that show, because sometimes they like buy an old cinema or whatever, and it's like, oh, what? And it's a cool old building. And you're like, that's cool.
Yeah, not often though. Normally it's a flat in Bow.
Shit flat. When it's in like in somewhere up in Bow, the flats in Bow.
Yeah.
When it's somewhere up north, it's kind of like they've bought this 5,000 bedroom property with 10 swimming pools for 12p.
Yeah,
whatever.
But it needs serious renovation. I don't think. And then some tosser local like estate agent awkwardly walks on with the bottom button of his suit jacket.
You can smell the Lynx Africa through the screen, can't
you? You can, and they're like, I would say that the property is, I would say, comfortably get between 12T and 70,000 pounds for the, and it's just like, oh, fuck off. And they always have to do that awkward, they're like, right, we're gonna, all right, what's your name again? Steve, right, all right, Steve. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the camera just down the path a little bit. We're gonna film you walking up to the property. So just absolutely normal. Don't worry about a thing. Pretend we're not here. Just walk like any other day, like you're walking up to the property. All right. Don't forget about it. All right. Everyone to ones. Right, and the guy is like literally like awkwardly walking down the path with the bottom button of his suit jacket done up like a cretin.
That music over it.
And he's got a giant tie knot that's so loose that the tie is falling off his shirt. Always pink because the sound guy stuffed a lav mic up it, and it's had to be all loose and shit, and it's falling apart. And it's just like, it's just glorious bollocks. And then when they do the dun 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 dun, and they have the Homes of the Hammer logo that was clearly made in like 1991 on video or whatever, and it just looks awful and low resolution. But it's become a sort of daytime institution.
It's a very watchable show. I used to find when I was, because like Ivan's been at home now since like March, so now we're both here. But I used to have these kind of spells where when I wanted a break from work, I just lie on the sofa and watch whatever for a bit. And it's usually YouTube, but the only television that could ever distract me was Homes Under the Hammer. It's the only one that could ever. They sucked me in. Super chat from Steve Saxon. Oi, oi! How you doing, mate?
Steve.
Thoughts on Dead Set, the Charlie Brooker nihilistic Big Brother Walking Dead mashup? Have you seen Dead Set?
No.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. It's a 6 half-hour episodes. It was on over Halloween about 10 or 12 years ago. Andy Nyman's in it. Riz Ahmed's in it. There's people in it. It's kind of Big Brother, kind of set in the big. It's set in the Big Brother house when the zombie apocalypse happens. It's written by Charlie Brooker, so it's very very funny. It's got lots of really sharp, mean insults in it, and just great characters. Yes, it's very very good. I've got the DVD of it, and I think weirdly they just put a Brazilian remake on Netflix.
It's just something that seems to have stood the test of time quite a lot. I mean, like I haven't seen it. It kind of came and went as this sort of just this Channel 4 play on Big Brother, because that was obviously one of their big flagship shows at the time. And it's like
a lot of because obviously Black Mirror started on Channel 4, and a lot of Black Mirror I think begins in Dead Set.
Well, because he used to absolutely slam Big Brother on Screen Wipe
and in his Guardian columns as
well. But then he married Connie Huck, right? And it was like she presented Big Brother's little brother or something, so he stopped, and it was like, oh,
there's a few things with Charlie Brooker like that. Stephen said it's horrific, isn't it, that final shot, mate? Dead Set, the ending of Dead Set, without saying anything, it's genuinely quite unnerving and unsettling. Right. Oh, it's horrible. And like, it's one of the few things that's really genuinely given me the feeling when I first watched zombie movies when I was a kid. Particularly because like Night of the Living Dead doesn't end well. like, you know, no one gets out of the original movie. Spoilers for a 50-year-old movie. Go fuck yourself. But like, you know, nobody gets out, and it's this really and
Right.
Dead Set's ending. I won't say specifics or anything, but it's upsetting and unsettling and just bleak. And I always know where it's going, because I think it's 6.5 hours. It's like 3 hours total, which I mean to watch this Halloween, because I've got the DVD, but I think it's on Netflix.
Mm.
But if you want a good Halloween watch, something you can break up over a few nights in small chunks, you know, like a particularly aggressive, turgid movement, it's worth it, Matt. It's really good. I really love it. And Andy Nyman is amazing in it. Andy Nyman just plays this cunt producer, and it also has the line in the first episode, "It smells like fingering in here," which is great. Yeah, no, I'm a huge, in long form answer to Steve, friend of the show. I'm a very big fan of Dead Set. I really, really love Dead Set. So yes, and if you can watch it, do. I'm kind of intrigued to watch the Brazilian remake.
Here's a question for you. What's the worst zombie film and/or television show?
There's too many, isn't there? I think.
Oh really? Okay.
There's so many things. There's so much shit that's out that you just kind of chuck it on. It's kind of like, oh, it's another one. Like, you know what I mean? I've kind of lost track of like what the worst ones are, because there's so much dross. It's sort of like saying, like, you know, what's I don't know, like, what's the worst cheeseburger you've ever had? It's like, definitely you've been to a van and had the shittest cheeseburger, but that just happens. It's a thing that happens. There's so many of them, you can't escape. I know nothing particular, because I know definitely like the well, Worms just put it out, like the couple of the remakes of there are 2 different remakes of Day of the Dead, sorry. And the second one is, it's less than fine. It's less than fine, but the first one is fucking dreadful, like really bad. It's like, why? What if you wanted to? Because it has nothing to do with the original film, barely. It's the characters have the same names, and there is a bunker in it. And it's like, well, why did you do this? Like, why did you just slap them? Oh no, money. That's why. I've just realised how naive.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you have to make money, I guess, but still, I mean, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? I mean, I kind of like, I find nowadays the whole studio involvement get out clause that people tend to look to is a bit, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they were just concerned with their bottom line. It's like, well, that's okay, but then also at some point you must have been able to have that conversation. You know, I just don't understand how that level of production runs into that level of difficulty when you're already shooting it and you're already like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very annoying to have, oh, well, what do you expect as a get out? And it's like, well, no, maybe these cunts should try harder. Like, instead of because it's kind of like the blame's on us for expecting anything. It's like, no, hold on, fuck you, don't come at me with that.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, like that seems to be the kind of go-to narrative for anything where it's like, oh, there was extensive reshoots. Oh, and it's just like, this seems to always unfold the same way, and you know, I think I wonder what these, and it's always these big tentpole movies that you kind of go, was it? Or is this just it's just this sort of thing, the fallback narrative that gets everyone out of jail? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Well, again, I just think it puts the onus on the audience.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we shouldn't have expected any better. And it's like, no. Like, don't just hire any old fucker. You know, don't mess around with it. Like, it's hard to know, you know, there's so many things in motion on that level of production, isn't there? So it's very easy for us to sort of, in an armchair way, so like, just be better. But at the same time, I hate it when people say to me, what do you expect? It's like, no, fuck you. These people have tons of money, have tons of training. You know,
well, being someone at the coalface of all that, it's like I'm expected to turn up and fart rainbows and be amazing, you know, and at every whim and every sort of capricious whatever from people, and it's like, well, and okay, fine, I need to be the best at my, you know, I need to be that good in order to be worth being that good. That's fine. I accept that 100%. You know, I don't think there's any room for laziness in this industry, but the flip side of that is when you're dealing with a sort of $200 million tentpole superhero movie, it needs to be fucking good.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for
look,
that. There's no excuse.
This is I heard people before go like, stop talking about Suicide Squad. And it's like, Suicide Squad was one of the biggest swindles of all time. And like
Yeah.
loads of people's fucking ordinary people who work hard for their money dropped fucking 12 quid to go see that. And it wasn't finished. As I've made many analogies in the past, but like that wasn't finished. It wasn't a finished film. It had no business releasing it, and then expecting us to pay money for it. And then you have cunts going like, "What did you expect?" It's like, I expected a complete film, like for that money, like not table scraps.
They've almost gone down the route of downloadable content, haven't they, with this stuff at this point? Because it's like, wow, you don't get the full film in the theatrical release. You get the director's cut. A bee's dick after the thing's been released on VOD and DVD. It's like, oh, here's the actual the ultimate Baltimate cut, as you like to call it, and then you get the Snyder cut and all that stuff. It all happens so ridiculously quickly, that's how it feels.
You know, they dropped another. Yes, it does. Well, do you remember the time we had to wait however many years to get the work print cut? Or the work print cunt, as I call it, the work by accident that one time. The work print cut of Alien 3 years later that Fincher didn't want anything to do with. And now, like less than 4 years, not only are we getting the Snyder cut, but it turns out they've done 1 week of $70 million reshoots. It's going to be a mini series. It's launching a streaming service. Like, and again, the Donner cut of Superman. It's like, whoa, that took fucking years, and it never got the level of kind of swing that the Snyder cut's getting. It's crazy. It's absolute madness. Like the turnaround on this shit now is insane. It's mind blowing.
But I think the thing with that is it's fit. I hope that HBO. I mean, I'm sure the current situation has kind of hobbled them a bit, but it's like I think they must know that the draw on that is not really because everyone thinks this is going to be a masterpiece. It's morbid curiosity. It has to be. It can't be like. It can't be anyone could watch Justice League and or Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel, etc., and went, no, this was going to be the was it the Naples Ultra or the fucking, I don't know, the apex of this cinematic saga. And it's like I watched it, but actually I could see in there.
Oh yeah, it was all there. It's
real...
just we didn't appreciate it. We rushed it through. Actually, there's something amazing in there.
Yeah.
Clearly. There's a diamond in it.
Whereas something like Alien 3, you can obviously now you have the two to compare to each other, like a sort of, I don't know, litmus test or something. But you kind of look at it and you go, well, actually, yeah, I can see something in there was trying to get out. Whereas with the Justice League, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I know that Joss Whedon really came and fucked around with it, but it's like, I don't buy that whole narrative structure unless somehow. That isn't how any of that plays out, which I doubt.
I love there's this idea that it was really brilliant, but then Warner's, just because they're mean, fired Zack Snyder, and then they looked for someone to fuck it up on purpose. Like, get out of here! Like, don't be insane. Like,
Did
both
you watch
versions.
The other film?
Yeah, both versions suck. Don't be mad. What are you talking about? And the one we're getting isn't the one that would have come out. It's going to be a fucking mini series. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, this is much like they said with Watchmen. Actually, they were always like Watchmen should be a miniseries, and that's what Terry Gilliam was going to do, and that's what it now is. And I haven't actually started it, but that's a
sequel rather than.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not an adaptation. So it's a sequel. It's not an adaptation of the thing. Yeah.
Call it fucking. Oh, this really pisses me off. It's like,
we're back here again, aren't we?
Don't call it Watchmen.
We're back
call it
here
Watchmen
again,
2. Yeah.
Watchmen's.
But
yeah, no, it should be called Watchmen. It should be called, I don't know.
Watchmen Redemption.
Yeah, Redemption. It's always Redemption.
Big blue dick.
The blue dung.
Deep blue dick.
Deep blue dick. Deep blue dung. Deepest blue. My hat is like a shark's.
My hand is like a shark's. My hand is like a Smurf's dick.
My hat is like a Smurf's dick. Ladies love Cool James. Ladies love Cool James. Oh my god. Just going to do a fart. There we go. Lovely. Yes. No. Yes. I mean, this whole fucking malarkey, man. I just... Right now we're in Snyder Cut Town. The whole turnaround, our expectations have changed. I think culturally, from whence this may spring. So, like, the time of Alien 3, we didn't really know... The general public, unless they read magazines or certain books, didn't really know about what went on. It's not the way it is. Now if Alien 3 come out, it'll be plastered all over the internet. I can't speak to what David Fincher's like as a dude, but like perhaps David Fincher would have campaigned for his own way. Perhaps David Fincher would have done more press. I perhaps feel not. But, you know, we have so much access to information that we just didn't have. And there's a cast of internet weirdos, i.e. us. And by us, I mean not just us in front of the camera. I mean us in the chat as well. Us. We want this info and we seek it out and it's given to us and it's served to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Also, I genuinely think like the culture of video games and phones and computers has done this as well because we're so used to patch updates on things. And now we're getting patch updates on our movies.
It's VOD. Oh, sorry. What do I keep saying? It's downloadable content, or it's
DLC.
It's patch update. Yeah, DLC.
It's a patch update. They're patch updating this shit. Like, because like there was what was it? Is it Destiny? The game I'm not really into. They had one actor in it. It was your man from Game of Thrones, who annoyingly, the little person actor who I got wrong last week. Now I can't remember his name. Peter Dinklage. Dinklage did the voiceover of this character. I think it was Destiny. Correct me if I'm wrong. And everybody hated it. So they took they did a patch update where they replaced him with someone else. Because games, and we're so used to patch updates and stuff now. And the thing is as well, games didn't necessarily games. It was what came in the box. And there was a transitionary period where you'd buy a game on CD. And then you download a patch from the website to install it, and it's optional. And now games update themselves. People are so used to things just being updated and changing. Facebook changes, Twitter changes. People always whinge about the changes to Facebook, and then there's like a 3-month cooling off period where they'll whinge about the next change, but it goes back to the one that they hated before and whatever. And now we expect patch updates and DLCs on our movies, which is bananas.
It's bizarre. It is bizarre. Yeah, and it's like, and then the other sort of flip side of that was the
cashback.
You know, the ancillary material, the kind of like, oh, but there was a cartoon series released in front of it. It's like they did that with the Dark Knight, didn't they? There was what was it called? The Dark Knight something. Anyway.
Oh, like Tales of the animated thing, like they did with the Matrix. It was the animated disc of
the Animatrix. Yeah. But I can't remember what that was called. But it was. It was interesting. I watched it and it was really interesting, but in no way did it tie into. It had like, again, because of course it did had like Kevin Conroy's voice, and they were a series of short.
Supposedly in that universe, but
supposedly, but I mean, all the animation was different. It was all very different.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But that's fine. It was just a really interesting curio. It wasn't anything more. You know?
It annoyed me that the animation styles are different, which is the point, which is fine. But you then have to make Batman look consistently the same. Like,
yeah.
If your version of Batman is big and square, or thin and slim, or always in the shadows, that's fine. But he probably has to wear the same costume.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that Kevin Conroy is a bit like, he's great, but why is that?
Yeah.
Ed Mason, 199 super chat for all the Skellingtons, dirty shitters and barrels. Thank you, Ed.
Grazie mille.
Grazie mille. But yeah, and you know, tie-in games really aren't a thing anymore like they used to be.
No, that again, I think the Dark Knight kind of put paid to that. I think that was the first domino to fall in that, because that was something really expected of that, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, because even Iron Man 1 and 2 had tie-in games that everyone's forgotten. But yeah, Dark Knight didn't have one, and it was like, oh, that's weird. And let's be honest, most of those were shit. I mean, everyone, you know, GoldenEye is the exception rather than the rule.
But it came out. GoldenEye, the game, came out in '97.
2 years later.
Well, it came out when Tomorrow Never Dies was coming out. It was like, all right, like,
yeah. And it was one of the best game to film, film to game versions ever. But that's just gone now. We just don't do that anymore.
I think the thing is as well, it's like because expectations of games have moved on so much more. Because it's just like if you're going to make a like GoldenEye. The game, it was supposed to be an on-rails shooter, wasn't it? And they ended up turning it into a FPS.
And it was made by a team of people that had never made an FPS before.
Right.
Which I think really contributes to the feel of that game, because it feels sort of like an Alien made an FPS, and it's for the better because it didn't behave like previous FPSs. Anyway.
Yeah, no, totally. It's also why it's full of glitches, I think, and things you're not supposed to see. Because you were supposed to be on rails, and it's like, oh, right. But it's brilliant, and it's but it, you know, that was back when expectations of games were that, and obviously GoldenEye the game over delivered in terms of what you got from it. But it's like when you go back to it, you actually you do feel like you're in the world of the film. And if you watch the film, I believe that the game developers were on set mapping out the the sets.
Because
That's why the
the
sets.
facility, like that's one
Yeah,
of my favourite video game levels ever. But the facility, if you watch the film, it's like, yeah, like there's the door and the stairs and the and like
yeah.
it's so perfect. You
For the
know,
day as well, for the limitations of the graphics and stuff. There's certain levels in it that are like that's not in the film, and it's like you go, well, I think that's because they didn't know that they didn't necessarily know what the script was. They just knew they had these sort of
plus
locations.
it kind of
but,
adds they're there in a way that adds value rather than takes
oh
something
yeah,
away. Because
definitely.
it's when you went into a game of a film, there was always that feeling of like, here we go, and it'd be like, I don't know. I know there is a game of Time Cop and it's not this. But it'd be like you'd load up the game of Time Cop and it's like you have to jump on all the clowns' heads and then collect the diamonds, and it'd be like, all right, fine.
Yeah, what was because there's that legendarily terrible Superman 64
Yeah,
game.
it's based on the Bruce Timm Paul Dini series.
Yeah, but you have to like fly through hoops and stuff.
So
and
Lex
like,
Luthor has put you in a Lex Luthor's put you in a kind of a prison with a kryptonite fog, and you have to fly through hoops to save people. And it's like, oh, you've had to stretch so hard to get here, so very hard to get here to make this make sense.
Whereas there was a game for PlayStation 2 that I had. I think it's called Shadow of Apocalypse or something. But it was again based on the cartoon, and it had like really good cell shading animation, whatever it is.
Yeah,
looked brilliant,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it flowed really well. Yeah, it had its limitations in terms of like you couldn't fly outside certain zones, I understand, but it was like, but in terms of the fluid, like that was probably the best Superman game I think I played, and it was like it really felt like you were just that character in that one. Even though there were smaller levels, there was one big sort of Metropolis level where you could just fly around and do whatever you wanted. But yeah, it was good. That was a really good game actually. It gets totally overlooked.
I saw that
because most people want to bash Superman games. Like that's the go-to. Like, oh, you can't make a good Superman game. It's like,
it's such a hard thing to do. I remember the Brandon Routh game tried to do what the Spider-Man 2 get, because the Spider-Man 2 had like it's Tobey Maguire, blah blah blah, but you fight Mysterio and they put in all this cool shit.
Yeah.
And then the Brandon Routh one, and I do, by the way, think the Brandon Routh Superman game. I mean, he didn't develop it himself, just to be clear. But the Brandon Routh Superman game was a very noble.
Looks like he did.
In one weekend.
Yeah.
It's a very noble attempt. And it's got some. So the idea is like Metropolis has a health meter.
Yeah.
And then when Metropolis dies, you die. And it's kind of like.
I have it. I think I've got it.
Oh, you do? Well, for like 360, I guess?
Yeah. I've got it. Yeah.
So it's like that. And I played a bit of that and it handled well enough, but I just didn't think it was.
That was more like a sort of Superman simulator that also had some very clunky things thrown in, because I believe the plan was to do more of the film plot line, and at the last minute it just turned into Metallo has lots of minions. It basically
Metallo,
was just a series
Metallo Man, isn't it? All over the place.
And it got annoying because it was like you would start flying around and exploring the world, and then it was like crisis on the street, like the freeze monsters are here, so shoot them with your laser vision. It was basically a thing would turn up that was the opposite of a power you had, so you just did the opposite thing on them, and it was really annoying. But it was like, in terms of a free, like if you just flew around and had fun, it was fine. But it was like you got bored of that. But it was like they put all the effort into like you could fly at super speed and you would break the sound barrier and stuff like that. But I was like, you look at it, it was just an effect. You weren't actually going faster than you would just normally fly. It was like, I'm not really getting anywhere very quickly, but I've just broken the sound barrier 5 times or something. Right, like, but you could go really high and do so. It was cool.
I remember playing it and sort of going like, this is because I think Adrian Mendoza is here. Hey man, making a Batman game. It's not easy, and there's been lots of deeply terrible ones. But they're like, for example, Rocksteady when they did the Arkham games. I can't play Arkham Asylum anymore because it lacks the features that were added in Arkham City, and I think Arkham City is the best one. Arkham Knight is fine, but it's got all this shoehorned driving shit that I don't like. Arkham City is where the sweet spot, right?
That's one I've got. That one, yeah. I like that game.
Cool game, right? And it feels like being Batman. It's kind of like smoke bombs and grapples and stuff, but Batman can get shot and die.
Yeah,
it's like Superman, unless everyone's got kryptonite guns, at which point you may as well not be Superman. I think encapsulating why it's fun to be Superman is very difficult. Spider-Man, there have been a number of very successful games. There was the original PlayStation game, really fantastic. Some of the 16 bits were good. The PlayStation game by Neversoft was fantastic. And then We had the movie tie-ins, the second one of which is legendarily good. And
the
then,
first two, even the first one was good. It wasn't
yeah,
free roaming, but it was a
it
good
wasn't.
game.
Yeah, because it felt like the PlayStation one. They'd done a very, really good job. And then the newest one or ones on PS4, which I haven't played, are supposed to be fantastically good.
Actually, Spider-Man 3, the game was very good. I had that. 'Cause I had that on 360.
That never quite got the. I think I never played it, but what I kind of feel with Spider-Man 3 is that people didn't like it because it wasn't Spider-Man 2.
Well, it didn't do anything new in terms of it was still an open world, but I mean, it was way more. Obviously the graphics were a lot better, but it was way more. It was way more polished, and you could do an awful lot more with it, and that kind of thing. And you could be in the black suit and all that kind of stuff. But I think I guess it just didn't move the game on very much, in terms of like it didn't do anything. But I gather none of them have. I had the other one. I had the I can't say it. Cell shaded one. What was it called?
Shattered
I've still
Dimensions.
got that. Is that the one?
Shattered Dimensions.
Might be.
You can play as Spider-Man 2099 and Ultimate Spider-Man. That one. That was so.
Yeah, might be that one. I never got very far with it, but I still have it somewhere.
If you do have Shattered Dimensions, I wanted that game. I wanted that game for ages, by the way, and then it finally came on Steam or something, and I bought it, and I was quite underwhelmed by it. I'm not going to lie, but I understand the boxed versions of that are quite rare because it wasn't on any kind of digital platform for ages, and that might be different now. But I would look on eBay if that's worth a few bob.
Oh,
if I were you.
They're all in a Tupperware box in the loft because I just don't play games anymore.
I tend to.
My dad, is way more. He has an Xbox One. I don't.
Wait,
I haven't even got.
But when you say Xbox One, do you mean original Xbox or an Xbox One?
No, an Xbox One, but not original.
Because calling it an Xbox One was the worst decision ever because it creates this conversation.
Yes. Yeah. No, he does. I mean, it's like when
your dad should play Apex
stuff,
Legends with me. Well, I'd love to play. Me, Angelo, and your dad can play Apex Legends as a VVB group. That'd be great.
Fair play. Yeah, I might. Like that's what happened with Erica. Everyone assumed that, like I said, they even sent me a code to download it, and I was like, I don't have a PlayStation.
I suppose it's a polite thing to do, isn't it? Really?
Oh no, it is totally. But I was just like, I wouldn't. I don't game anymore. It's a shame because I used to really love it, but
I don't like I used to. I still do it because there was a time, particularly on the PlayStation 1. Fuck me, did I game PC as well?
Same, yeah.
These days, I still do a fair old bit, sit in evenings and game, but
is it the same though? Because like you could speed run, like you're really good at Resident Evil 2, and my friend Dan was really good at that. And like that, well, like you used to be able to master a game. I was amazing at GoldenEye.
So was I.
Well, you weren't as good as me.
Well, was I because we played? Who won?
Oh yeah, me.
Fuck off! Was it you? Fuck you, cunt! And it's been scrubbed from the internet as well. So
yeah, you got no. So it was
definitely me. It was definitely
the best.
the best and the best.
I
can't do Biden, but I just have to be like really spiky and angry, don't I? It's kind of like this knucklehead doesn't play GoldenEye or whatever he does.
Yeah, but not that lucid. I think more like. Oh, this knucklehead now
doesn't know how to play checkers.
Yeah, I had an onion on my belt. So, all Biden's characters like Odd Job and whatever with an onion on their belt. That's how you knew. No, not to be. Hey, God bless America. I think that
Duncan's opinions are his own.
Yeah. But what I mean is, it's like you could get amazingly good at GoldenEye. Like, Dad had this. Dad played Far Cry, I think, into the ground. I remember always telling me like years later he'd mastered it, and you could do that. But I just think nowadays you move on.
I don't even. Here's my take on that because you're right. And there are a bunch of games, GoldenEye being one of them, better than you. GoldenEye is one of the games that I mastered, but there's a few different ones, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I used to be really good at. But being an adult and having an adult life, I just don't have the time for that. To be that, because the thing is, I play probably more than a lot of people my age, but not a lot more. It's because I have free time. And when I've had like a really long slog for work, I'll sit and play a game, and if I'm really into it. But I would never, ever approach a game anymore from the point of view that I'm going to master it because I just know I don't have time. So I might as well just have fun.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where it's like I used to be like, right, I'm going to fucking break this game open. GoldenEye and Perfect Dark are both games where I did every conceivable thing and there was nothing
Same.
left to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A few others as well, but I just don't have the. I can't commit the time to that anymore. I can't do that anymore.
No.
Even as a childless single weirdo, I've got like a business to run. I've got taxes to pay. I've got rent to pay. I've got a family to see and in some cases look after. You know, whatever. Like I just don't have the time. I'll sit and give it a few hours in the evening, and that's great. But I just don't. I won't even try anymore.
Yeah, and I think that sort of, I mean, that's why like GTA is the only game now where I would even consider buying a new console for and buying the game. But I mean, GTA 5 I've played into the ground a bunch of times. I've even done it where I replayed the whole game just so that I could do the stock market stuff. So I would be a quadzillion gabillionaire, and I could buy the golf course, and I didn't. But I can because I've got all the money. But anyway, it is pointless. But it's just something I can stick in, have some fun with, and then just ditch. And it's like I'm a real loser. I get so much pleasure out of just like getting in a plane, flying it, and actually landing it at another airport, which is really sad.
There's a lot to be. People do that, but there's a lot to be said for that in GTA.
I actually quite like actually flying a plane properly, because most people like getting in it, flying to altitude, jumping out, and shooting guns at the blimp or something.
Because Tangerine Dream did music for GTA 5, and one of their themes I think comes in when you just fly over the city, and it's this beautiful electronic thing, and you've got like the sun going down.
It's nice, man. It's really.
Across. You want to try out Microsoft Flight Simulator, fam? Do you know about the new Microsoft Flight Simulator?
I see a lot of stuff about it.
Man,
but I don't know. No, I don't. Yeah.
Check this. This is crazy. Like it glitches sometimes, but this is nuts, right? So it's got like every airport more or less within reason, yeah. So it's got hundreds of airports in it, which probably includes Cambridge. Now, what it does, not Google Maps because Microsoft, but the Bing version of Maps, it dynamically generates the surrounding area from existing satellite maps and uses an algorithm to create 3D buildings and stuff.
Wow.
So you can more or less fly to your own house. It's not perfect, and there's a few weird glitches in it. So like, I think
fly to your own house in a fixed wing aircraft. It's like, there it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
You have to crash into your own.
You're not going to go and like put the bins out or whatever, but you can see your own house and stuff, and your own city, and like the bigger cities, they've actually gone in and manually modelled a bunch of really important buildings and stuff. So it's this insanely detailed thing where you can just go in and fly, and I assume like Cambridge, because it's got like Southampton Airport and Birmingham Airport, so I think probably Cambridge Airport's probably in it, because we do have a smaller airport here, and there are smaller aircraft. It's smaller aircraft as well. It's not all jetliners and stuff. There are smaller craft too, and yeah, it dynamically generates the landscape. It's fucking nuts. So there's some weird stuff that happens. So I saw somewhere in, they patch this out, but there's errors in it. So somewhere in Australia, there was a building in the middle of a city, which was just kind of like this enormous needle dick monolith that just went hundreds of meters up, because it was a small house and there's a long run of code. So instead of 6 stories, it's like 600 stories. So it's this massive needle just sticking out of the fucking. I
have to say, because Dad just in the room had Flight Sim, and I remember playing that with him as a kid, and I think we said like, should we fly to the Bahamas? Because that's. I was like, let's do that from Heathrow to the Bahamas. Okay. And we took off, and then it was all real time. So we were like, it's like, that's a 9-hour flight. And I don't think we ever bothered finishing.
Do you remember Colin Hunt did that on the Far Show?
Oh, really?
On the Far Show, he has, remember there's the woman from his office. He has her over to fly to like LA or whatever. And he's just like sat in the chair doing it, and she sat behind him. She goes to talk to me, goes like, "You can't distract the pilot." Anyway,
the thing I used to do, because I was this is back in the 90s, is I used to take off from JFK and fly into the World Trade Center. That was because I got bored, and I was like, well, those I think that and a few other buildings were the only actual 3D things sticking out of the ground that you could actually fly into.
I remember there was some kind of panic about, they reckoned that the hijackers did use Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then I think subsequent versions were less realistic, which is why I was very surprised to hear the newest one where it's kind of like, oh, it maps buildings dynamically. I was a bit like, oh, okay. But the fact is, if people want to do that, they're going to do it, because
I was going to say, I don't think it's and actually nowadays I don't think it'd be that easy to do. But I mean, it's what's the point? You've got, I mean, to say that Flight Simulator is the problem when it's like, well, you can Google Map most stuff.
Yeah, we're at a point, after
Yeah.
2001, like that didn't exist so much. So, but now, dude,
Yeah.
if you're gonna get that, you're gonna get that. I mean, the only places that aren't even mapped are things like North Korea, obviously isn't mapped, and I think there's big parts of China and stuff that aren't mapped. But basically, everything is mapped now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just quite intrigued. I think I've got Game Pass. I think Game Pass on PC I can get Microsoft Flight Simulator, and there is that nice kind of screen-savery, chilled out, thing of. There's a game called Project Zomboid that Ivan and I did a let's play from. It's like an isometric zombie survival game, and it's sort of like if you find a tin of beans and eat the tin of beans, you'll be left with an empty tin of beans that you have to then throw away. It's that level of realism, and there is combat in it, but really, what Ivan and I put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into it. The most enjoyable thing is that I took on the role of like the builder, so we were like took a street full of houses, we annexed them because I learned carpentry skills. We annexed that like 6 houses, so it was like a mega base, and then Ivan learned medicine and how to farm. So he was growing vegetables, and the zombies were there, and that was fine. But really, it's just this really chilled out thing of kind of like building fences, building bookcase, building chairs, and he's like farming gherkins, like cucumbers. Then he could make them into gherkins, and like farming strawberries and stuff, and spending hours and hours and hours. And the game has no narrative and has no end point. It's just there with like it's like The Sims with zombies, basically, is what it's like, and we just put hours and hours and hours into it, and sometimes you have to go out on a raid because you need more tin food or whatever, and that can get a bit scary and a bit hairy. But most of the time, it's like, oh look, I found an arcade machine in this shop. Let's put it in the car and take it back to the house. We can put it in our den. It's just really,
Dude, I mean, it's the idea that I have time or that I would be able to sit down and do that. It's a shame because I used to love it. I did used to love gaming when I was younger, but then I just feel like I've so been left behind.
I mean, for me, I tell you what, I play a lot. So like, I don't tend to buy brand new games. I'll buy one new game a year maximum. So when you're paying full whack, and because I PC game, full whack is like 35 quid. You don't pay full price on PC. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we've had a run of fairly decent Resident Evil games. So I bought a new Resident Evil game. 7 came out, 2 came out, the remake of 3 came out. All of those. Yeah. So those are my kind of big famous games that I'll play. But other stuff, I like the little fun kind of arcadey dip-in games. There's one called My Friend Pedro, which is like a little gun carter platformer, right? So it's not some big involved thing. So I can just sit in and play that. I can go on Spotify and Xbox, put some drum and bass on, turn down their music, listen with my music, and do loads of some slow-mo gun shooting backflips. 40 minutes. I'm done. I don't have to get some.
Yeah.
I don't do like super involved RPGs. I'm not going to play like some Elder Scrolls that I'm in for 80 hours. I like Far Cry games. Your dad was saying he's playing Far Cry 3. Love a Far Cry game, which I could just dip in and out of, and I'll spend like a year playing Far Cry.
Far Cry 3 was the one I went through. I kept resetting all the checkpoints and then going off and killing them all.
Yeah,
like,
doing it all over again.
Yeah.
Did you play Far Cry Blood Dragon with Michael Biehn?
With you, yes, and someone else whose name I forget.
Really?
Yeah, we all sat down and played it once.
Did we?
Not online, but
yeah, we did like a let's play. Oh, I don't remember.
No, we didn't do a let's play. We just did it. We just all.
Oh, we just played it. Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't socialise with you. No, I don't remember doing that. We will have done because that's a game that someone and I used to talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was because you do the same thing, just reset all the bases.
I think you were like that was a real you've never seen Bad Boys 2 moment,
right.
so you put it on for me.
So you've never seen Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness to that person, and I used to sit around for a lot because I, at that point was very much an out of work actor, and I used to have nothing to do in the day, so I'd go around and do maybe a commentary, and then we would literally just sit and play like Call of Duty a lot. And
you were just down the road then as well, weren't you? You were
like, yeah. So I did a lot of that, and that's fine. I mean, I used to have fun doing that, and I have a decrepit aging. I mean, at this point, probably vintage Xbox 360 that just sits there gathering dust and. Well, it's not even plugged in.
I have a double of things. Well, they release more and more games on Mac, but not like they do on PC. But there's more and more stuff on Mac, so you could probably get something on your Mac. But I need a PC with loads of guts to do video work. nice coincidence I could stay gaming. My friend Dan bought me an Xbox for Christmas last year, bless him. It's really kind. The one without the disc drive, like the download only Xbox.
Oh, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah. So it's like a sort of download one only. And he bought it for my Christmas, bless him. It's really, really sweet. So I wouldn't have got a console if Dan hadn't bought me one. And I play Apex Legends with Angelo sometimes. I'm playing Call of Duty with Angelo tomorrow actually because we haven't spoken in a while. So I'll just catch up with him.
Nice.
Angelo, you'll remember from Beverly Hills Cop Talk on our anniversary stream.
Indeed. And I actually I need to reach out to Angelo. Mainly just to say hi, but yeah. Yeah, because I think it's going to get to the point where it seems like it already is. Like most of the processing won't even be on your local machine. It'll just be streamed.
Oh man, there's already an app for Xbox One right now that does that. Streams your games to your phone. So you just Bluetooth an Xbox controller to your phone. You can get a little holder. It streams your games to your phone. I don't really think I have much use for that, but I want to try it because I like techie things and I want to see how it works. Because I got Game Pass, which is like the Netflix for games they have. That's the other thing. Game Pass means you have this kind of Netflix for games things for £10 a month, and then just go in and now all the Microsoft first party games go straight to Game Pass, and they've just bought the Doom franchise, so all Doom games will be going straight to Game Pass from now on. I've already got Doom Eternal, which I put. Nice. Doom Eternal was one of my full price games here because I love all things Doom, so I had to play Doom Eternal. That was my big full price game I think this year. But if you don't have Doom Eternal, it's on Game Pass, so you could just go get it. Whereas I paid on launch day because I love Doom things. Because Doom's great. I love all things Doom. Yeah.
Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you know. So we're getting into the last 10 minutes, really, of stuff. Have you checked the PayPal recently?
I'm just literally doing it now.
He's a good
I apologise for my lackluster behaviour tonight, but I am running on empty at the moment. I'm so tired. And I think I'm about to have another rough night and another one tomorrow night. So I'm just forgive me. My dad sent us £10. Thanks, Dad. He says, "Hi guys, love the humour." Thanks, Dad.
Good luck with Far Cry 3, Philip. You've got.
It's a good one.
Far Cry 3 is awesome.
Yeah,
it's fucking great. I love me some Far Cry. I realise they're quite formulaic, but I also don't care. Just it's like good. What more of the same? I like the same. Is it in a slightly different country? Good.
Yeah. Someone whose name I've forgotten again lent me the fourth one, I think.
Yeah, and the kind of Himalayas one.
Yeah, and I started playing it, and I had fun with it, but I just didn't get far enough, and I had to give it again. That was the downslide of my being able to play video games anymore thing, because I just didn't have time. I think I don't know, like I'd never have time for anything. Like
I really like the gunplay in Far Cry games. I think the gunplay is so on point, and there's such a variety of guns. So you can really tailor your experience. I know what I want, and I like pistols and sniper rifles, and what's in between is for wankers. Just make it really difficult. So super long range or quite close. But...
Yeah, well, because that's what that game lends itself to. I think I had because obviously again it was very much in that period of you had to tailor your weapons cache, if you like, to main weapons, because you can't carry more than that, which is I suppose realistic. But and then like guns jam every now and again, and if you got a rusty one.
That's Far Cry 2.
That used to piss me off.
But Far Cry 2, you also have to manage having malaria.
Oh yeah, of course.
Far Cry 2 was cool, and I think they really
overshot though.
Yes,
with that.
Yeah, they overdid it. I think they kind of tempered their excesses with the third one and made that more palatable. Because it's kind of like you need to have malaria medicine. Your guns fuck all the time. When you have a map, you have to physically hold the map in front of your face. You have to take the bus around the game world.
Yeah, but then it was things like the technology couldn't keep up with it. So it was like checkpoints respawned all the time. And it was like, I've just driven there, realised I need to drive back somewhere else. So I have to go back through the same checkpoint, kill all the same people. And then the thing that did it for me was that I think because the port to Xbox cocked up, there was some sort of glitch where, and it was well known at the time, and that's why people said save on alternate slots rather than on the same one, and I didn't realize, and I'd saved over the same one too many times, and it fucked up, and I didn't have another save, and it was like it would just every time I would load the game, it would crash. So it was
so it just broke the game. If you
it just broke the game entirely. It would just literally freeze, and you had to turn your Xbox off. And I was like, right, so I have to do that all again. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that all again. Yeah. So I binned it off, and it was a shame. But the third one was so much better.
It was so much more refined. It was so much tighter, and it was much clearer because you played as one character. And yeah, they really got the formula down for that, I think.
But I know what you mean about the guns and stuff, because it was like the guns are inaccurate and the guns don't always do what you want them to, but then that's what guns do.
That's what guns are like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so in the third one onwards, I just love that. I mean, because you can either have a rocket launcher, a grenade launcher, a shotgun, and a massive machine gun, or you can have like a bow, a silent sniper rifle, silent pistol. So I love the fucking bow, man, in those games.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your experience of playing the game can be so different based on the choices you make, and then the choices within that. So like, do I put a silencer on the gun? And for me, I'm kind of like a sniper bow and arrow, pistol gunslinger guy. So if I get in trouble, I want to pull out like a 44 Magnum, and you get those nuts moments where you just get a headshot straight off the bat with a 44 or something. It's like, oh, I'm a cool gunslinger. This is great. I've killed so many people.
And then a random tiger will jump on you and kill you.
Yes.
And more useless.
Did you ever? Right. I think it's Far Cry 3. No, Far Cry 4. There's the rare animal hunts. Did you ever do that? Oh no, you didn't play 4 particularly.
I played part of 4. Yeah, but not all of it.
There's a great little mission about hunting a honey badger, which plays into the internet's obsession with honey badgers, and honey badgers are mental. But there's the rare skins. So there's all the animals. So it's like the rare tiger, like the albino tiger is the rare skin you have to hunt to craft.
Oh yes, yeah.
When you do you do like a rhino and a bear and a tiger, and then you do the honey badger. And the honey badger, I think you have to empty like 5 clips of AK-47 into it before it dies, and it's really little. And so you're running around going like, ah, because you've killed all these tigers and stuff, but then you have to kill this like immortal honey badger. It's really great.
Doesn't that one have like a gyrocopter in it or something, so you can literally fly around the map in this janky gyro,
tossing grenades out of the fucking thing, like, sucking firebombs off the side and shit.
But it looks like it's made out of a lawnmower or something. It's just a sort of like
it's that sort of Mad Max. In Far Cry 5, in Far Cry 5 you get like aircraft, you get like proper helicopters, and I think biplanes and stuff as well.
Oh, wow,
so I do have that game, but I don't recall getting in a biplane something that bothered. It's one of those mechanics I'm not that bothered about. Like, so fuck it, dude. The last Batman game, the Batman Arkham Knight, the driving sections ruined that game. Like, I couldn't finish it because I'm stuck on a driving bit, and I just don't care. Like, I want to jump around I know people love the Batmobile, but I don't give a shit. Like, I want to be running around the city on the rooftops and stuff, and there's like these sections where you go into a thing with Riddler and you have to do all these stunts and stuff, and it's like, it's not what I'm here for. This wasn't in the other games. I'm not, you know.
It's one thing if it's a side mission, but if it's part of the main thing, then that's annoying.
Yeah,
I do say I think Arkham City struck the perfect balance, because Arkham Asylum wore thin in areas where it was like, I don't mind stealth games, but I don't like it where I've spent ages doing it, and then, you know, I've usually because of shitty game mechanics, somehow a guard gets alerted and it's all over. That's why that whole like Cypher
Filter. I used to love Cypher Filter.
It used to fuck me off because it was like, game over.
That was fucking. It just like.
Wait, and also you're this like badass tooled up dude with his night vision goggles and shit, and you never get to do anything because the whole point is sneak around people, and it's like, well, that's boring.
Sometimes it will end the level, and sometimes it won't, because Cypher Filter did have quite involved shooting actiony bits, but it's like some levels you get rumbled, shoot your way out. Other levels just goes game over. And it's like, well, what was the difference between this and the one I just did? Like, well, fuck you. I want to shoot my way out.
There was a more recent Siphon Filter, I think, on 360. I think I downloaded the demo for, but I never actually got the game. Because that used to be a thing. I don't know if it still is. Where you get
it's a PlayStation thing. It's a Sony thing. Siphon Filter. I'm pretty sure.
What am I thinking of then?
Are you thinking of Splinter Cell?
That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Splinter Cell, pure stealth. Like right, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
apologize. Sorry, not time for Splinter Cell. Absolutely, yes, Splinter Cell. Because I had a more recent one. I don't know if there's more since, but there was one that I got the demo for off of, and it was more like a kind of Max Payne type dealio, and it was much better. And it wasn't like, yeah, if you didn't sneak up on every bugger and
I've
you
had a
know,
really good time with the Splinter Cell. I really like the Splinter Cell games. I
yeah,
think it was one of the Splinter Cell games on the original Xbox had this really innovative multiplayer mode where it's called like Spies versus Mercs, and it was 2-on-2, and the mercenaries saw everything from a first-person perspective and were very heavily armed, whereas the spies were all in the third-person perspective, but not nearly as well armed at all. So the
right,
spies could sort of like put you in a chokehold and stuff, but the mercs had a massive gun, and obviously both teams experienced the game from a completely different perspective. It was
mm,
really clever asymmetrical gameplay, which is all the rage now. And I remember doing it
right.
around my friend Cave's house, and we networked from Xbox together, and it was really cool because you got one of you's heavily armed and hunting with like heat vision, but then the
Mm.
spies, okay, they're not going to win in a firefight, but they can get the drop on you just by climbing up a pipe and falling off the ceiling and jumping on top of you, whereas the mercenaries can't climb or anything. Really clever, really good. I think it was Chaos Theory or something. I can't remember which one. Um, I think
Right.
you liked the. Did you play Rainbow Six Vegas?
Yeah, I love that.
Mate, the gunplay in
Both games.
those. Yeah, one
That's
and two.
so good. I think
Love the
I
gunplay in
went back
those.
and played it again recently, and that's like a 13-year-old game at this point. But I love those games so much.
I'll go
Yeah,
back and play.
really.
I'll go back and play two or both of them, but two in
Yeah,
particular any time. The gunplay in those, and again, similar thing. Once you unlocked all the guns, you could approach it in so many different ways and stuff, and
two
commanding the
had that great
team
thing.
and stuff.
Yeah, oh totally. Two had that thing. I mean, it was glitchy, annoyingly. Like quite often you go over there, and they'd be like, eh. And they'd just be in the middle of the room,
Did you
like
ever use
bumping
the
into each
voice
other.
commands on that game?
Yes, yeah,
So
briefly, but
good
it didn't.
because like yeah, sure you would command them through the pad if you wanted to, and like you say, they would tend to go wrong. But like the commands for them to put silence, because remember you can make them go quiet, and they'd put the silence
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
You would go like go quiet, and they go grenade, and they just like drop a grenade on the floor.
The amount of times, well, even with the control pad, where I'd be like, you could tell them to throw a grenade, like, and you could tell them where to throw it, and I'd be like, there, and they'd either go like, I can't throw that grenade because there's that guy who's got a really shit English accent, or and he's called Michael or something,
Yes.
and it was like, and or I'd be like grenade, and they're like throwing grenade, and it would go like bang bang and land right next to you, and it's like fucking
Grenade going out. And then they just sit there.
and they'd be unaffected, but it'd be like bang, you're dead.
Oh god. Well,
But
the multiplayer split screen was great on that because you wouldn't have to deal with dipshit. So two humans, and you could
yes,
do cool because that had the snake cam under the door, and you could throw loads of smoke in and go heat vision and stuff.
it was really well, like you say, the controls and everything really well set up, so you could very quickly, and once you got the hang of it, you could like toggle between heat vision, night vision. You could just set up going into a room really well. I love that game. I had a lot of fun. Again, a game you could master, which I don't.
Yes,
It's
that's
not.
something. So that was probably one of the last games I did that with, and I had a Xbox 360 save. I used to play with my friend Nick, he of Ghost Pit fame, and
Yeah,
unlocked all the guns, unlocked all the terrorist hunt. We used to play constantly, just leveled up. We had a little miniature OCP clan because we were able. It takes quite a lot of doing, but we were able to unlock
yeah,
a way to build the OCP SWAT uniform.
yeah.
And like getting the fucking helmet, Jesus Christ, did that take some doing? But
I
yeah,
went Jack Bauer. That was my guy.
oh
So
nice, oh very good.
I got some aviators, but I made him like basically fairly pared back. It was like no real armor, just with a flakjack, well, with a bulletproof vest and yeah.
I used to quite like doing like an asymmetrical armor setup, so he's not too heavy, and it has a bit of a Mad Max thing. But if you're armored down this side, because that's the side you go in with. So
Oh, okay.
You're back.
No, what?
How that actually works in game mechanics, I don't remember. But your leading arm and leg are more armored, and it
Okay.
just looked cool because it was asymmetrical and kind of yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, mine was Jack because I'd always given the USP compact.
Oh, the
'cause
ESP, yeah, that's a great little.
that was
Yeah,
Jack Bauer's
Jack
gun.
Bauer's
Yeah,
gun.
so,
I think
yeah.
it was was it that had the full auto Glock in it, didn't it? Because I think
Yeah.
was it only the first one that had the Beretta, I don't
No,
think.
that's in
Is
2.
it in? It's in 2.
92F, yeah. Is in
92F,
2.
yeah, 92F, yeah. So you could do that and the MP5 if you were feeling a bit John McClane.
They had a P99 as well if you're feeling James Bond.
Raging Bull Magnum. I love the fucking Raging Bull Magnum because you really had to master it. 'Cause I think it's only got 5 rounds, but it will go through. And if you get good at it, you can be devastating. It's not for the faint of heart, but you can.
Yeah, good game, man.
Oh,
I've
got that on Steam actually. I should probably. Yeah. I found annoyingly that the joypad compatibility doesn't work, and I don't want to play it with the keyboard and mouse. I want to sit on my sofa and fucking.
I've still got the disc and everything, like, because I'm current like that. But it works.
Fuck it, so. Good game. Who cares?
Yeah, it's right.
Right, it's time to pack Knocks on the Head.
Yes.
People are checking out already because it's past 10. Sorry, we didn't talk about the film much, but we hope it was fun anyway. At least I dressed up like the film. There's that, I guess. Yeah. That's all you're getting. So we'll be back. Duncan's going to choose a trio of horror films for you to vote on. We have got on Patreon. You can watch the Night of Living Dead review that we made. You can watch that on Patreon now if you're not on Patreon already. And I have made a short making of video that's mostly covering how you can put yourself in an old movie, like I did using some green screen stuff for that. And that's a 35-minute video that is going up on Patreon on Saturday. So that's a bit of extra for you guys there as well. And I've just done a post about a private watch party for next week. So I'll do a private watch party and we're going to decide what to do next week. Duncan's going to do a Q&A thing, are you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a Patreon Q&A at some point this month, and I will let you know before it happens. Sorry about that, but I will. But yes, that's my to do for this month.
Cool beans. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll get back on it with Patreon. But if you want to get involved in the watch party, $5 and up. I've just asked everybody what they think. We're going to go picture in picture for something next week, next Wednesday night. And again, you've got exclusive content up there. The Nights of Living Dead video is not going to go up till Halloween week, so that's a good 3 weeks ahead of the punks on YouTube. All right, so we're going to cut to credits, to Halloween credits, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out.
Yeah, really God bless as always. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.